Hi, this is Normie from Knuckleballer Radio and Zombie Cast, and you're listening to one of my favorite shows on the Geeky Antics Network. Don't forget to check out the rest of the gang over at geekyantics.net. Warning, there might be rants and food ahead and possibly inappropriate behavior. Don't tell anybody though.
This is Ross Marquand, Aaron from The Walking Dead, and you're listening to the 365Flicks podcast.
Geek Speak, the definitive 365 cut. These are the meaningless ramblings of a Scottish redone whore and a pissy ex-video store clerk. Their ongoing mission is to set right the movie wrongs. They're gonna need a bigger podcast.
Hello, you're listening to episode 39 of the 365Flicks podcast.
This bit's going to sound really fucking weird. We recorded the whole thing, and then Gary went off, and we've come back to do the news, which is going to be the first thing you're going to hear. So, yeah.
Timey-wimey again.
You know, like, I do feel like you are starting to just own everything now, because we did a great interview. That was the last episode that got uploaded, which is doing very well, and I just want to thank everybody and anybody who's listened to it. You're all a bunch of beautiful bastards. And
thank you, Kevin, again, for coming in.
And thank you, Kevin, because that dude was just...
That was a really good interview.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed that.
It was more the fact that he was just one of us, which was nice.
Yeah.
It's nice to get them. Even though I did say to him at the end, I was kind of like, yeah, we're waiting for that one bad interview. Maybe not something you want to say to somebody you've just had an interview with.
Well, no, it's okay, because it wasn't him.
And he's been retweeting that episode, like proper putting it out there for us.
Happy days.
So I assume he was happy with that. And that was a good episode. And if you want to listen to that, it's an interview with Cavan Scott, writer of Doctor Who, Star Wars, and multiple Labino. Vikings. Banana Man. You know, buy Vikings, buy Doctor Who. I've read both of those comics and they are great. So just get them. I've also done reviews on the website. Did you see that?
I did.
I've been using the website. But obviously this episode features Gary, who wrote Plagued, who we spoke to a few months back. And he's also awesome, and you'll listen to that bit later. Unless I put this at the end, but I think I'm going to put it at the start. Timey-wimey.
Timey-wimey.
Yomar's going to be loving us, because he loves all that timey-wimey stuff, doesn't he? We did get an email from Yomar, and we're going to be maybe possibly doing a little bit more with him.
Sure.
Because that's cool, because we have kind of neglected him a little bit.
Well, you stopped playing with him. That came out wrong.
Yeah, that totally came out wrong. That sounded like when Brigger said that graphic novels could come on him anytime. Or did he say Hobie? In my head...
He can come on Hobie anytime.
I heard him say he could come on me anytime. That's what I heard.
But we know that, well, Brigger is Hobie, isn't he? So.
Brigger is Hobie.
Yeah.
You know, without the Briggs, there'd be no Hobes.
Oh.
We are the 365Flicks podcast. We just want to pimp out the networks a little bit, and then we're going to jump into some news. Do you got much news?
A little bit.
Right, so we're on Tangent Bound, we're on the Wicked Radio, we're on Geeky Antics Network, we're on nerdly.co.uk. Ah, shit, I stole your thunder.
What are you going to do?
Bollocks.
I was going to fuck it up as well.
You probably were. You're probably going to be like Gleeky.
Looking.
We're also on Weeby Geeks, which is a super awesome podcast website that pretty much all of our pod buddies are on. The pod buds. I like that, pod buds. Hashtag pod buds.
Fuck you.
We're also on the Twitters. If you look for hashtag pod and family, we're a part of that nifty little community. There's some great chaps on there.
They are cool. I'll let you away with that hashtag. That's fine.
They've been pimping us a bit, and we've been pimping all of them a bit as well. But, and this is some pretty fucking big news. I mean, I would say this is probably the biggest news I have for you. You already know what it is, but it's some pretty big news. When I started doing this podcast, there was another dude, a good pal of mine, who decided that he was going to build a pod cave, much like mine.
Ah.
And then he waited, I would say, about 6, 7, 8 years to record anything. Well, it feels like 6, 7, 8 years.
Well, he kind of threatened to.
And then he's got stuff down. They are the Chaff podcast. It's capital CHAFF. They basically just have like the hot topic debates, the hot button debate. Like the new episode that came out today was about wooden bowls. You know, so they cover it all, from like the war in Syria to wooden bowls.
So is it like Newsnight?
I suppose you could probably liken it to Newsnight. It's just two really cool guys sitting down having conversations that if you had with your mates, you probably wouldn't record. But honestly, I want everybody to give them a listen. I've been pimping them on Twitter quite hard. I hope it's doing good for them. I hope people are listening, because it's just bite-sized comedy. You know, it's 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes an episode. You know, so it's not very taxing for you. Just sit down and listen to the fucking episodes. And if you don't, I'm going to come looking for you.
Oh dear.
So yeah, I just wanted to pimp them out a little bit.
It's the perfect time. It's the perfect length of time for a podcast, really.
It is.
We're way too long. We slaver like bastards. But these guys, you can listen to it. You can put the kettle on, have a cup of tea, have a sandwich.
Exactly.
Just give them a try.
Like, an advert's just come on. You're watching your favourite show, The Blacklist or Blind Spot, and there's an advert. Oh, fuck, what?
You know, it's the shit one on the Britain Factor or whatever the fuck it is now.
X Factor's got British talent.
Exactly. Yeah. You know, the Strictly Superstar Come Dancing thing. You know, it's the shit one on there. By the time you get past all the fucking sub-story where their grandma's fish has died, and then the act itself, you've listened to their podcast.
Funnily enough, that is an episode of Britain's Got Talent X Factor I would watch. If the grandma's goldfish had died, I would probably shed a tear.
I would vote for that guy.
I'd vote for that.
Yeah.
But instead of listening to that, you could be listening to the Chaff podcast.
There you go.
I just want to put them out there, and I want you to have a listen. You've been listening to us, and I know you have, because I can see it. So just fucking listen to it. Yeah, we're also on the Facebook, 365Flicks podcast. Type it into your Facebooks. We're there. We're also on the Twitters. We're at 365Flicks pod. So get that done as well. Send us a follow. If you're listening to us on your iTunes, which I hope you are, because if you're not, you've probably got a Windows phone or something.
Or an Android.
I do keep forgetting about those Android phones.
You do?
Yeah. And I prefer Android phones to my shitty iPhone.
I don't. I'm swapping.
Are you swapping to the iPhone?
I'm going back to iPhone.
Don't go back to iPhone.
I'm on HTC just now, and allegedly, it's shit.
Allegedly. I like that. Yeah. iPhones are shit too.
I don't want sued by North Koreans or whatever the fuck it is.
North Koreans?
There's Korean in it?
Say North Koreans or North Koreans?
Taiwan or...
I thought you were doing like a Nokia / Korean sort of... North Koreans.
Okay.
So
that was quite good.
We're on the Twitters, we're on the iTunes. Rate, review, subscribe, give us a 5-star review. We've been getting some reviews. They're coming in, they're trickling in. It's not like a waterfall. It's more like, you know, when you've got like that thing when you pee and it really hurts and it takes a lot of pressure to get the pee out. You know, Tom Hanks had it in The Green Mile.
Wow.
That's what our reviews are like. Like, they're coming out just very slowly.
That's quite an analogy.
It's the best I could do at short notice. So...
Did you have to make it so painful? Okay.
So, we're on all those things. We're also on your third-party apps. I recommend you use Satchel because they are partnered up with the Tangent Bound, so I'm legally obligated to recommend them to
Well,
you.
we love the Tangent Bound.
We do love the Tangent Bound. So, get Satchel, review, rate, all that bollocks, but this is taking way too long, so let's just... Do you have some news?
Yeah, I've got a little bit of news. Let's go into the news while I open my phone. So, yeah, have you heard that they are rebooting Space Jam?
Yes.
With the director of Fast and the Furious?
Yes. Yeah. Is it a reboot or a sequel or a remake?
Oh, fuck knows. Haven't they done a sequel?
Space Jam, no.
Are you sure?
They did like that Looney Tunes film Back in Time with Brendan Fraser. No, they've never done like a Space Jam 2.
I thought they did like a director.
No, is this going to be Space Jam 2 or Space Jam remake?
Do we really care?
Not really, I'm not going to watch it. I mean, the first one was fucking crap as it was.
I'll watch Space Jam, it's okay.
It's not.
It's alright.
It's not.
It's got Daffy Duck in it.
Right, wow, okay. Sold. I'm in.
Yeah.
No, honestly, I'm in.
Fuck Bugs. Daffy's the man.
I'm totally in. I probably would when Bugs is dressed as a girl, but I'm not going there.
He just did.
Is there a girl Daffy Duck?
No. There's a girl Bugs.
Because Daffy's cool. Daffy's pretty cool.
I like Daffy.
I
always like Daffy better than Bugs.
A girl Daffy would be cool.
Bugs is a bit of an asshole, really.
He kind of is a little bit.
No, it doesn't need. We don't need that. We don't need that shit.
I have something. It's not exactly news, but I finished Daredevil season 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I'll only bring it up because obviously Punisher's been. Have they greenlit it or it's happening?
I think they've greenlit it.
I didn't think that was going to happen, if I'm honest. I thought they might spray him in some of the other TV shows, but I didn't think he would get his own series.
I don't know if I loved him in Daredevil, but...
It's Bernthal. Bernthal is a great actor.
Oh, I mean...
But is that character, does it hold its own series, or...?
He made that season for me.
Yeah.
Would I watch 13 episodes of just him? I'm not sure. It would be a bit depressing.
Well, would you like my 3-minute review of Daredevil?
Go on, then.
Because I wasn't a big fan of the first one, and it took me a lot of getting through. And I actually preferred Jessica Jones, even though I wouldn't give that a big rating either. Season 2...
Well, before you start that, Jessica Jones was so big, for me anyway, was so watchable because of David Tennant.
Yeah.
Not necessarily because of the character Jessica Jones.
Well, this is what I thought about Daredevil Season 2, is pretty much what you just said there. Without Frank Castle, without The Punisher, I would never have watched that whole series. Because I thought Matt was a whiny little bitch. I thought Foggy was good. Foggy was getting moments, but not enough of them. I absolutely loved, they made me care about a character I hated in the first season. But I loved the switch for Karen Page, going from being like their temp and their secretary to now working for the newspaper.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Yeah.
That felt natural to me. It was a nice little switch for her. I liked that. Elektra, what a fucking waste of a character.
She was okay. I kind of maybe tuned out a little bit with some of the scenes that she was in. She did some quite good fighting scenes. That wasn't her, I know, it was a stunt woman. But she was okay.
I just couldn't.
They could have done a better job, I felt. I agree with you completely. You don't have John Bernthal or Punisher in there. The season is meh.
The few moments when the season dropped off, for me, was when there was no Bernthal.
I mean, the scene, I think it was, second or third episodes, and it was pretty much the whole episode where he had Daredevil tied up on the roof. On the
rooftops. You mentioned that.
Oh, my God.
You mentioned that. So I was kind of sitting there waiting for that episode. And it was phenomenal. Mm-hmm. Just the back and forth between the two. Just a
monologuing.
I don't know if you're supposed to have that kind of feeling, but when he was tied up and he was telling him about his kids and his wife, I had a huge fucking lump in my throat, slight tear in my eye, because that shit gets me.
I know.
And Bernthal sold that like a motherfucker.
Same, the bit where he's being tortured.
Yeah.
And holy shit on a brick. The bit where the drilling. Oh.
Awesome.
And then they kind of escape, and then they're in like a cemetery.
Yes, yeah.
Is it his wife and kids' gravestones?
Yeah.
And he's monologuing again. And actually, I was welling up. I've not got kids, but I was welling up at that bit. In that scene, I was welling up like a bastard. I won't lie.
But then you didn't really get much of him after that, like for the rest of the series?
Well, he went away, and then he was obviously... he was arrested at that scene. Then they had the court case.
Yep. Because fuck me, Matt Murdock's actually a lawyer. Well,
what I did take away from
20 minutes.
What I did take away from that series is you are the worst business partner ever, sir. You just fuck off.
That's not how you do it, is it?
That is not how you do it. I mean, Jesus wept.
I was kind of sat there halfway through the series thinking, why the fuck is Foggy putting up with this? Like, why is he putting up with this from him?
That, I mean, a lot of the moments during the court case, in particular, I was sat thinking, tell him to fuck off, Foggy. Tell him to fuck off.
I didn't need the Fisk episodes. I didn't hate them, but I didn't need them. I didn't need.
But then, if you don't have the Fisk episodes, then you don't have the big fight in the prison.
I know, which was pretty badass. I know, but I just didn't need it. I was just kind of sat there, like when they introduced Fisk's, that's coming out well. When they introduced him at the end of that episode, I was literally sat there thinking, I don't need this shit.
No, I was happy to see him.
That's your prerogative.
And I'm never wrong, as you know. So,
and again, huge props for the magnificent Scott Glenn in the role of Stick.
Yes.
I still love that guy.
Yes.
But I've loved that guy. I mean, I know he's been doing movies for absolute fucking hundreds of years, but his role in Sucker Punch is just fucking phenomenal. I love him in that movie. So as soon as I saw him in Daredevil, I was like, I'm buying it. I don't care what he plays. I'm buying it. So I love Scott.
He's a great character in that, mate. He really is. Absolutely. I mean, series as a whole, I mean, I I love the series. I couldn't stop watching it. I mean, I think I watched it in about 3 or 4 days or something like that, you know.
Took me a bit longer,
yeah.
I will admit.
I agree with you there with the whole Elektra thing.
She just seemed like such a fucking waste of a character.
Was maybe a little bit of a waste.
Should have just got Jennifer Garner back and Ben Affleck and just redone the Daredevil movie for me. So, yeah, Marvel is doing a Punisher spin-off, and I think from the sounds of it, you and I are not entirely 100% on board yet. I just don't know how it carries.
I love him in that role, but I'm not sure if I'll not want to kill myself by the end of 13 episodes of that.
I think it's kind of a less is more kind of deal. Like, the less we saw, well, I'm saying that we didn't get enough of him, but the less we did see of him, the more his moments made an impact. Apart from when he was on the rooftop at the end of the series and sniped at those guys, I was kind of just sat there like, oh, fuck off. I was wondering if that was going to be him done, and then he turned up.
I won't lie, the end of the finale, where they kind of went all magical and shit, and they had Elektra in the, was it a fucking tomb or whatever the hell, or like a big jug. That lost me a little bit. It's, you know, that's kind of, you know, if I want that shit, I'll watch Arrow or whatever. You know, that lost me a little bit towards the end, where they went all like magical and stuff like that. Yeah.
So Daisy Ridley lost out.
I know.
What's that all about? I thought that was in the bag.
I thought she was bloody perfect for that role,
yep.
if truth be told. But there you go.
So, for those who don't know, Alicia Vikander has won the role of Lara Croft. I don't think she's going to be as good as Daisy Ridley.
No, I would have preferred to see Daisy Ridley in there, definitely.
She seemed kind of perfect for it.
I mean, have you watched Ex Machina?
No.
It's okay. It's not what I was kind of expecting, like a iRobot type movie. It really isn't. It isn't at all.
Because it's Domhnall Gleeson and Oscar Isaac, isn't it?
Yes. I mean, they're good. It's a good movie. I bloody well bought the Blu-ray. I wish I hadn't, because it came on fucking Netflix the day after I bought the fucker. But
always wait for that.
I wish I hadn't bought it. It was good. Would I watch it again? No. But I'm stuck with the fucking thing now, so it's not going on my shelf.
Yeah, just get rid of that.
Never that.
Just get rid of it.
So yeah, Star Trek 4 is already being worked on.
Can we not just wait for Star Trek 3?
Well, you would think.
Are they that confident?
When is it? It's out in 2 months' time, isn't it?
Is it a confidence thing or a shit in the bed kind of thing, and we need to work on the next one as soon as possible?
Oh, I hope it's not that.
Because it does look like it's going to be a bit of a piping hot mess.
I don't want to see it because it's not JD and it's that fucking bloody jump out of car prick. I'm not looking forward to it at all, but then, you know, we will end up going to see it.
Yes. It's Star Trek.
I mean, that could be a case for an instant reaction.
Oh.
Like, what the fuck did we just watch?
Yeah, but you don't know that. We might walk out of it and be like, damn, that was good.
Well, you know, we learned from people going into Batman vs Superman with expecting to hate it. If you expect to hate something, you're going to hate it.
Very much. You're not going to go on another witch hunt rant, are you?
In a minute, I am. You've still got a damn fine cast in there. You know, Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto, etc., etc., etc. It might be all right. They've not brought out a great deal of trailers for it, though.
No,
there's only been one trailer which I didn't like.
Yeah, but was that not the music choice?
No.
No, it was the trailer itself.
It was the trailer itself.
Yeah, the trailer's not great, but I thought my biggest gripe with the trailer was the music.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't the music choice. It was just. It made it look like a comedy. You've got Scotty jumping out of a whatever, just like a bloody fantastic fucking no, that's not right. Fantastic Four, Fast and Furious movie.
But it is being written by Simon Pegg and directed by a Fast and Furious director. Like, why they gave Simon Pegg the keys to that castle, I will never know. I know he's a nerd, I know he's into all that shit, but what did he do as soon as JJ said, oh, come to the set? He went over to the Star Wars set and he bagged himself apart in that movie. So, we know where his allegiance
fair
lies.
play to the guy. You know, you're a massive geek and you've got access, so I'd be bloody well getting myself apart as a stormtrooper or whatever the hell he played. I'd be doing that.
You would, but it's like, choose your franchise, mate. You're working on a franchise, you've been given the script writing duties on a franchise. You don't then fuck off to do a cameo role in Star Wars.
Well, It wouldn't have taken very long, surely.
Well, I don't know, it's quite a pivotal role. You know when Ray goes to give the stuff over and he gives him the credits?
In the caravan thing?
Aye.
Oh, that was him.
He's the big fat thing.
I would never have guessed that was him.
So,
good cameo.
Did you even figure out who Daniel Craig was?
He was a stormtrooper, wasn't he?
Do you know which one?
Was it Traitor?
No.
Then no.
That would have been a great one. He was the one who Ray done the mind meld on and made drop the gun on the floor.
Okay.
Which, when you watch it again, and you'll sit there knowing that it's Daniel Craig, you'll be, oh, of course that's Daniel Craig.
I would be, if I had access to that shit, I'd be getting cameos on those movies.
Course.
Bloody right I would.
JJ's buddy.
I'm trying not to think badly about Star Trek 4. I'm kind of hoping it was just a shit trailer, but... So what else you got?
That's pretty much all I've got, mate. I mean, news-wise, we didn't have a lot of time to prep for this episode because I kind of thought we were doing it this weekend. So
well, a couple more bits then. There is a Judge Dredd TV series being discussed with Netflix and Amazon.
I saw this.
So you've seen Dredd, right?
Yes.
You've made comments about similarities to The Raid, which is fair enough. Absolutely fair enough. No arguments there at all. But wouldn't that be awesome if they put that shit on Netflix or Amazon Prime?
Too fucking right. We've already seen from the likes of Daredevil that they will go that extra, like, they'll put that violence in there. And it's not too violent, but they'll put that in there. You could have a fucking ballsy Judge Dredd series. You could have a great... I would say maybe go for 6 to 8 episodes.
Yeah.
If that's a thing.
Well, I would say then, if you're going to do that, maybe go with Amazon, because, you know, they do... Kind of. Like, I think one of the ones that they do, or I think they're still doing it, I think it's gotten a season 2, is the Man in the High Castle.
Yes.
Which is fucking excellent.
I've not seen any of it, but I've heard so many great things about that show.
It is unbelievably good. I mean... Same with, similar to Daredevil and all that kind of thing. Bloodline, you know, all those kind of shows on Netflix. I couldn't stop watching it. It's great. It's fucking great. So if they did a similar thing to that, and also, what's the other one on Amazon? The one about the hacking.
Oh, the Mr. Robot.
That's the one. Yeah. That's bloody excellent.
I need to watch that
Christian
as well.
Slater's in
That's
it.
another
You'll
one.
like that.
That's another. I know. I love Christian Slater, and it's only just recently that I found out he was in that. Otherwise, I would have watched it like months ago.
It's good. It's also got. It's a character in The Pacific.
Right. Okay. I like that. It was a good show.
You remember the scene where there's a guy sort of chucking stones into one of the Japanese fellas' bust open head, and it's going like. That's him.
It's not hitting us.
No, bygones. Anyway, it's good. It's very good. But if they were to do that kind of format on Amazon Prime, I kind of agree with you that it'd be too much for a whole run of 13 episodes.
I don't see where it goes after 13 episodes.
Unless you're going to do like a sort of like a procedural, like a Monster of the Week kind of type thing, but you can't do that with Judge Dredd.
I mean, you could. You could, because he technically is a policeman.
Well, I mean, there's a shitload of material.
You could do Blue Bloods, but with Judge Dredd.
Have Tom Selleck in there.
Would he need to take the helmet off? Or would we know by the moustache?
Well, no, it's got to be Carl Urban.
Right. Is Carl Urban doing it?
Oh, it's his idea.
Is it his idea? I know he was pimping the TV.
I think he sent a tweet to like Netflix and Amazon saying, right, come on.
I know he's been dying to get the movie made.
Which is great. Movie. He clearly loves the hell out of the character. That's awesome.
Aye, because it's sort of like that whole Ryan Reynolds thing, isn't it? Like he wanted to do Deadpool, let's get Deadpool made, and it finally gets made.
I think maybe that's what's spurred him on?
I would say yes. I would say that's probably what a lot of actors are going to pick up from this. And I mean, there's probably not a lot of actors out there who have their dream project they want to make. Carl Urban's already played Judge Dredd in an amazing movie, the same way that Ryan Reynolds had already played Deadpool in a shit movie. And it was like, this character deserves another shot, so they need to make it. If it's a TV show, I'm watching it. I'm just saying that I'd be a bit dubious about 13 episodes.
Yeah.
I'd be very dubious about that, in fact.
I would agree with you.
I think it's the sort of thing that would be good in British hands and just give it 6 episodes, because that's what we do.
That's what we do. Yep.
And we're the best at it, so...
Last bit, and this could possibly lead to a rant from you, I don't know.
Oh. I've not really had a rant.
You've not?
I think you thought I was going to go full ranty in the Civil War.
I did. And
which, by the way, is coming later. Already recorded, but you'll be hearing it later.
Put the TARDIS noise in again.
Yep.
Batman vs Superman.
Oh, come on.
Has made $862 million worldwide.
Yeah.
And that's I think that's what it's going to take.
Yeah, they're not going to get much.
So it's not making $1 billion.
No, they'll not make $1 billion.
So
maybe when it comes to DVD release, but that's not like your box office.
That's
take.
not counted, is it? No. So because it's not making $1 billion, it's now considered a flop.
To who? To fucking who? Do people? Do you know how much that movie cost to make? I'm saying that. I don't actually have a figure on the top of my head, but I'm sure the movie was like 250 to 300 million. Now 826 million to 250 to 300 million, that's a success. It's made money. It's made a shit ton of money. It's a success. Is it a success in the whole people got behind it and loved it? No, it's not. I made my bones with it. People fucking hate that movie, and they're well within their rights to hate it. You know, I wasn't exactly massive on Civil War. I loved the movie, but I didn't fucking... When I keep seeing all these posts, people saying, this movie is awesome, this is the best MC movie of all time, this is the best Marvel movie ever made, it isn't. It's not. It really fucking is not.
As I said, or as I'm going to say in a minute, because I've got the foresight, etc. It didn't topple Avengers Assemble for me. It didn't do that. I still put it up there as one of the better ones, most definitely. You know what? I'll be bloody well buying Batman vs Superman on Blu-ray. Yeah. It'll be going right on my shelf. Well, not right next to Marvel. You know, you've got sections. I'm not an animal.
You've got to have sections.
You've got to have sections.
Keep them apart.
You've got to have a Marvel section and a DC section. Otherwise, you know, just looks society untidy. Breaks down.
Looks untidy.
It breaks down, Kev.
It starts Civil War.
This is how the walkers come.
This is how the walkers come.
When you don't put things in order. It's not a fucking flop. That's not a flop. That's ridiculous. That it's just more witch hunting.
It is.
And just fuck yourself with that one.
I had an interesting conversation with a lad I work with today. We were talking about the Civil War, and he says to me, he says, what did you think of it? And he'd been to see it. He says, what did you think of it? I said, I really enjoyed the movie. I have gripes. I have problems. There was things I didn't like, things I really didn't like, but there was also things I absolutely loved. So, you know, it evens out. And he said something extremely fucking interesting to me about all these articles that are saying, best Marvel movie yet. Awesome! That was my Miz. And he says, do you not think that people are saying this? People are putting this movie above Avengers, which you haven't done, because they watched Batman vs Superman a couple of months back, and it got the slating it got, and it got the bad reviews it got. And I stood there and I thought, I really hadn't thought of that. And he was like, do you think, because a lot of people hated that movie and just nailed it to the floor, that they love Civil War? All it had to do was be decent.
I would say, going back to the witch huntiness.
Yes.
You know, I'm not talking conspiracies or any of that fucking horse shit here. This is not our show.
Well, that's Doug's job.
Exactly. Or those conspiracy guys. Maybe that's their next episode. But if you think of the witch hunt that was Batman vs Superman, and how it was a bunch of horse shit, and it was fucking nonsense from start to finish and all that shit, and then Civil War comes out and it's the greatest Marvel movie ever made.
It's the best thing since sliced bread.
So it's not the greatest Marvel movie ever made. It's not.
I totally agree.
It's a good movie. To be saying that, I agree with you. To be saying that right after Batman vs Superman comes out, I'm not saying that people, you know, regular cinema goers like you and I are saying that. I think that it's a lot of sort of people, you know, critics and what have you, who had gripes, you know, with the work that Zack Snyder did with Man of Steel, who were going into Batman vs Superman thinking this is going to be the worst thing. This is going to be worse than shite. I'm not giving this a good review in a million years. And that's what people went into that movie.
Yeah, there was a lot of people did that.
But then they went into Civil War because it's a Marvel movie. And to be fair, you could argue that Marvel did the work.
Yeah.
They did the work in building up their universe first.
Of course they did.
But then, you know, DC had to catch up and what have you, so they kind of just went for it, and they went with their own idea. But if you want to hear the whole argument about that.
But if that was the case, though, if they wanted to catch up and they wanted to get to the point that Marvel's at now, every character would have been in that movie for the same amount of time. But they weren't. You had 3 characters. 2 of them we already know very well. I mean, one of them's only been built up in the DCEU, but we don't exactly have to have another Batman Origins movie. We're going to get that, it looks, anyway. We're going to get an earlier version. It's going to be a prequel to Batman vs.
You don't need
Superman.
more oranges, though.
No, we don't need more oranges. That's the last thing we need,
Never oranges, never that.
But the only real new character in that movie that they were trying to build up was Wonder Woman. And then you had little YouTube clips of the rest of them. So it's just...
When you think about it, you need a Wonder Woman oranges, because you've not seen Wonder Woman on the screen since Linda Carter. Have you?
No, no.
So you need to introduce this woman to the universe.
I know. It annoys me to fuck when I just went and watched a movie on Monday night that has 12 to 16 main massive characters in the MCU, and nobody has once turned on and says, "Oh, that's chock full of characters." But you have 3 in Batman vs Superman. 3? That's fucking 12 less than the other movie, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's way too full of people. There's too many people in that last fight. Too many people." There's a fucking Batman who technically stands on the sidelines. You got Superman who ducks out the fight for half an hour. You got fucking Wonder Woman, pulling her boots up and proper trying to take down Doomsday. You got Doomsday being the baddie. What did you have in Civil War? You had 12 characters battling it out, but nobody's saying, "Oh, that's too full." But do you think that's because it's done in a huge airport, which makes it look quite small?
Maybe that's what it is.
Maybe it is. Maybe that was what the Russos
it's open air, there's less sound.
The Russos thought to themselves, "Oh, we've got loads of characters. Let's do it in an airport, and then it'll not look so big." But I'm not slamming that. I'm not.
There were people who were saying, well, it's not going to be as good as the comic, the graphic novel, because there are hundreds and hundreds of characters throughout the whole Marvel universe. You've got access to the whole Marvel universe in the comic books. You've got X-Men in there, you've got Fantastic Four in there, you've got and you've only got, like you say, 16 or 12 or whatever it was. No, you're not telling the fucking story. It's based on the Civil War graphic novel. It's not
very loosely
the story.
It's Civil War in
but
name
then
only.
there were moments from the graphic novel that were in the movie, and the scene with Iron Man and when Iron Man was like,
that was straight panel. That
was
panel to screen. It looked badass as well.
It was badass.
It did look badass. But I've not heard a single person say, "Oh, that airport scene where there was 12 people battling out, that was quite full of characters." Whereas a movie that had 3 people fighting one guy, "Oh, that's far too full of people. That's far too full of people."
I know.
I mean, that's neither here nor there. We both enjoyed Batman vs Superman. We both really enjoyed Civil War. We have our gripes with both movies. At least I do. I think you just... you got caught up in the Spidey loving, so I'll let you...
Well, Spider-Man. But, I will say in a minute my sort of my gripes with Vision and what have you. I mean, it wasn't a perfect movie.
No.
It wasn't. Just the same as Ultron wasn't a perfect movie, but I've still watched it over and over again.
Which we both still... We loved when we did the review, and we stand by the review. We loved Ultron. Yes, there's some holes, there's some problems, but we loved it. It was a good film. It was visually pleasing. It did enough on the broad spectrum. It was enough of a movie for us to be happy with it. And we were. Same as Civil War. Just in answer to your question, I know we kind of tangented quite a lot there, but in answer to your question, it's not a failure, no. 826 million is
shit,
damn good.
That's right, yeah. We spoke about that.
It's a damn good return on that movie.
They spoke about they wanted to make $1 billion. There was the Jock and Nerd episode where that was a really, really interesting episode where if they kind of had the $1 billion sort of milestone as a indication of whether it was a flop or not.
How's that an indication of whether it was a flop or not?
I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying that's what they spoke about.
Right.
Do you see?
I know there was
I'm on your side with Batman vs Superman. I like the fucking movie.
No, I'm just wondering because I've heard that. I didn't just hear that on Jock and Nerd. I've heard that on a few different things where they're saying they had to make $1 billion. I'm sure Hobie said that a few times.
This was on Den of Geek before. It's made $862 million.
Why did they have to make $1 billion though? Is that because that's what?
Didn't they say that it was to make their money back? But that's bullshit because it's spread over several movies, not just one movie. So that's horseshit anyway.
They've paid the big nut to get everybody in it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's nonsense. It's fucking nonsense. But it's being considered a flop now because it didn't break $1 billion.
It's not a flop. It's not. It's. So yeah, we're going to move into our next section. Already recorded and already in progress. I quite like when you did that on the last episode, by the way.
Me?
Yeah. When we went into the interview and it was like, already in progress.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Hey there, kids. Do you want to hear a show where a bunch of guys sit around in a comic book store and talk about comics and lifestyle choices, other goofy things and shenanigans they get up to? Then
when have we ever talked about comics? Usually it's people sitting on my lap and riding the struggle bus.
That's true. It's mostly shenanigans. But occasionally we talk about comics. And if you like any of those things, comics, shenanigans, Devin's lap, then you need to check out Snake Oil Comics with me, Travis, and my beautiful co-host, Big Dev.
Find us on iTunes, Stitcher, and snakeoilcomics.com.
We're joined once again by Gary Chudleigh, who writes The Awesome Plagued, which you can pre-order the trade right now on bhpcomics.co.uk. I've got mine ordered. How are you getting on, Gary?
Have you really?
I have.
Amazing, thank you so much.
He has, but he keeps on saying, where is my bloody copy? What's going on, Gary? Can you fill us in here?
I can officially fill you in. June 1st will be the launch date.
Ah, right.
So it should all be coming about then. In fact, Shah, the publishing director, was messaging me today about the book. It's actually still being made up as we speak, like just adding on all the wee special feature stuff at the end. It's looking good. Thank you so much for the order. I really appreciate it.
That's all right, man. That's cool. That's cool. I can't wait to read it again. It was just the digital copy that we had, which Shah sent us. So it'll be good to have the proper paper copy in my hands.
Which was awesome in itself, but you can't beat having it in your hand, can you? I mean, if there's nothing better than holding it in your hand.
Yeah, I think so too. I still have an affinity for printed copies of things, you know. Like single issues I can read digitally, but when it comes to like graphic novels and trade paperbacks, etc., I do love to actually physically have it.
So on that note, what would you say? Because we did a cheeky little interview last week that we uploaded with another comic book writer. We asked him the first, last and best. I don't think I even asked that on the last episode when we had Shah and Gary on, did I?
No, you know, it was kind of a recent thing, isn't it? So, yeah.
So basically, like, it's a chance for us to ask you or any guest that we have on, but today it's yourself. First, last and best sort of comic book that you read that you could recommend for people.
Like sort of favourite comic book to recommend?
Yeah, like the first, like the first comic book you remember reading, the last one you've read, and like the best thing you've read.
The first one I read, interesting. I'm trying to like place it. Fair enough, like a lot of comic creators, they talk about, you know, they loved it since they were a kid, but I didn't actually start reading till a later age, like sort of late teens. You know, getting more into like the sort of adult stuff. I think maybe the first one I properly read was a series called Powers by Brian Michael Bendis.
Right.
And it's sort of a take on the superhero genre from the point of view of like the police force. So it's like a very noir-y crime story, but they investigate, you know, people with special powers that have been murdered.
That sounds pretty cool.
That was really good, man. It was quite eye-opening. Like, it's got really sort of cartoony, child-friendly artwork, but yet it's got swearing non-stop and like extreme violence.
Is this the one that they're making into a TV show now, or has it just got the same name?
That's right, yeah. The PlayStation originally bought it up, but now I think it's been brought to Channel 4.
Oh, Christ.
Or some other channel. I don't think the TV show's really got that hot of a reception. I've not seen any episodes as of yet.
Right.
I don't think it's quite pulled off a Walking Dead, which is a shame because it is a good series and, you know, it does deserve a bit more recognition. The last thing I read was volume 6 of a series called Fables. Right. Fables is kind of how to describe it. It's like all the fairy tale characters exist in this fairy tale universe, but due to like some recent invasion by what's he called, the Conqueror or something. He's just got some weird evil sounding name, but they've had to like pretty much immigrate to like the Monday world, the mundane human world. Yeah, and they've got their own wee society and all that kind of thing. That's actually really excellent. I'm really loving that.
I'm sure I've heard
so I would recommend that as well.
I'm sure I've heard another podcast talk about that.
And what was the third one? Like the best one?
Yeah, like the best thing that you can think of off the top of your... I know it's putting you on the spot, but...
No, that's cool, that's cool.
Something that really stands out that you would say you have to read.
I would say my favourite, maybe not graphic novel specifically, because it does dip in quality, on and off, but probably the Governor story arc in the Walking Dead comics has been...
right.
Like the time that I've been most gripped and most like, oh my god, I need to read what's happening next.
Hey guys, this is Nick from the Epic Film Guys podcast, and you are listening to the 365Flicks podcast. Not only your source for great movie news, outside of our own podcast, of course, but also your source for everything from The Walking Dead. And all of this comes from a pissy ex-video store clerk and a Scottish Whedon whore. Your vocal heroes of pissy opinion. It is, again, the 365 Flicks podcast. Please jump over to iTunes and give them a rating and follow them on Twitter at 365 Flicks Pod. And now here's a little taste of what the Epic Film Guys podcast is all about.
Even when the composer wasn't that great, they were like no-namers, but they come up with these iconic themes, which
even films
you
that
get
are
in your
complete,
head.
even films that are complete shitfests, like
Garbage.
Stallone's Judge Dredd. Dun 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 dun. Like that theme is so iconic, it sticks
Don't
right in
call
your
that
head.
movie shit. We both know that's your favorite movie of all time. All right,
It definitely is one of them. I will readily admit to that.
a little bit. Let's put a little more lighthearted feel in this.
What are you doing
retrospect.
down there, Judge Hershey?
Waiting for backup.
Hey, Diane
It's
Lane. Diane Lane, man.
Well, what have you been up to then, Gary? What have you been up to lately?
Jeez, lately it's been less writing, more promotion.
Oh.
Really switching on the marketing side of the brain about the book launch, just because it's going through Diamond, which is pretty much the distributor that owns a monopoly on the comic market.
Yeah, Diamond's like a big deal, isn't it?
It is, yeah. You can't, not MD can just go into Diamond. They sort of need to approve it and say, right, okay, we think that this could be successful in the comic market, so we want to put it out because we can get a share of it, etc.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's been all hands on deck trying to promote that as much as possible, because at sort of, independent publisher level, you're not talking huge budgets.
Yeah.
So you really need to pull out all the sort of social media stops and just all that kind of thing. So it's been planning and writing press releases and doing all that kind of jazz.
Wow.
Well,
Not the most fun stuff, to be honest. Like, I'm good at it because it's part of what I studied, but people are always surprised when I say I really don't like it. I really do hate marketing. It's a sort of necessary evil if you're really wanting to promote yourself, so it's a handy tool,
Yeah. Tip for you, watch a couple of episodes of Mad Men and then go back to it.
Do I've not actually seen Mad Men as well. I think that would be right up my street.
It is a hell of a good show.
and just do your best John Hamm and you'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. Like, have a few whiskies and work, see if it works.
Yeah, I do that
I'll
every
tell
day
you
anyway,
what, I'll tell you what, mate, I'm a delivery driver and it works for me, so... I mean, it's got to work for everybody, hasn't
Some
it?
parcels may be a bit smashed, but they get there in the end.
Oh, they always get them. I might not be on time, but they usually get it.
Allegedly. So
These views do not
No, on you go. Yeah.
Personal viewpoints, there we go.
Just, I've got nothing to do with that, it's all Kev.
Okay, thanks for that.
You're very welcome. Yeah, you're very welcome. Well, don't slug off my jokes. What was that thing you put on Twitter a wee while ago, that people can sign up for it, and then, was it on the launch date, it automatically puts out a post saying this is available?
I think that's finished, isn't it?
Is it finished now, is it?
I think he's
Oh, yeah, no, it's meant to be finished, right?
Oh, right.
Funny story. I was like, I'll schedule it on Free Comic Book Day, right, which is today, and I think it's every Wednesday, depending on who's releasing what, or every Wednesday once a month, I think.
All right.
That's bad to not really know that. But I thought, right, I'll put it out now. I'll put it about 6 p.m, because everyone's finishing work, everyone's checking their Facebook, Twitter, they're in their cell for the night. But I accidentally set it to 6 p.m. American time.
Oh.
So it's going out at like 11 tonight, where nobody's going to be on it, and everybody's going to be in their bed sleeping.
Oh, no.
I know. I've not told Shy yet. I've not told the publishers, so yeah.
Is this your way to break it to him?
It is, yeah. Shy, if you listen. I'm sorry, bro.
I'll hold out a couple of days on releasing the episode till the dust died down, and then we can't get in trouble either.
Oh, thank God, thank you.
but mate, on this diamond deal, that's a massive tip of the cap to you guys. Well done on that, I have to say.
Thank you very much. It's appreciated. It's been crazy how fast it's all came around. Just this year, it's just really all sort of kicking off. We'll just need to see what the orders are like and if it generates enough interest as well, because you can go 50-50. It's quite a nerve-wracking thing, Marvel and DC dominate the market so much.
Aye.
That I think one of the guys that work there. Now this is a completely different scenario because this is another indie guy, but he could be so indie it's just himself putting it through. I think he sold 6 copies through Diamond.
Right.
So I was, in my mindset I had thousands, but maybe it's best to sort of look at maybe hundreds, maybe thousands. It's so up in the air. So we'll see. We'll see June 1st. If I come back on, I'll let you know. I'll either be crying or smiling.
Well, we've read the book and we know it's going to sell. It's going to sell, and we will keep pimping it as hard as possible. And if they've picked you up, they've obviously got faith in your body. So I wouldn't even worry about that.
It's a cracking read, and it's a cracking story, and it's cracking artwork. So get everybody who's listening to this, get your asses out and buy a copy or pre-order a copy.
Jamming, yeah. Any comic store you can go in and say, "Hey, pre-order this," and all the pre-order codes are on the website, bhpcomics.com.
Yep.
So if you go in and you say, "Look, pre-order," I should know this off by heart. Actually, I should know the code, like APR something. I actually jokingly said I was going to get it tattooed on me, but I didn't quite get there.
You weren't quite drunk enough.
No, not yet.
That will happen, though. That will happen.
Oh, of course.
I did. I bought the first book or first issue of that Rock of the Reds. Remember, we were calling it the Hurricanes in Space. I need to lend you that. And that was a pretty cool little comic. That I quite
you have been raving about that.
Yeah, not on the podcast though, because we want to pimp Plague. So
yeah, of course. Yeah, do you know what? Hurricanes in Space is the perfect elevator pitch. If you were pitching that, that's exactly what you would say. So it's very, very, very well said. Hurricanes in Space.
Although, I hope Shah's going to listen, and I do want to say, I'm a bit pissed off they didn't go with that tagline. It felt like a winner to me. And
if he's not listening, I'll bring it up with him and say, "Look, Shah, look."
I'm not going to say I was hoping for Rock of the Reds : Hurricanes in Space or anything, but I thought a little bit on the back of the book, Hurricanes in Space, 365 Flicks.
Maybe they're saving that for the TV deal.
Maybe.
Do you know if you officially review it and you give it they pick up really good quotes for reviews, you can say absolutely amazing Hurricanes in Space, then that can go as the quote.
Aye.
There you go.
For the review. So there.
That's not bad. Next episode. Pure brilliant.
Pure brilliant, man.
Right. So. Obviously, we're a little bit pressed for time with you, Gary, and things have kind of, although it's not going to sound like it's kind of gone tits up, because I will edit the bastard out of it. But we're going to skip the news right now, and Chris and I are going to deal with that later. But there was one quick thing that I wanted to get your opinion on.
Cool. And
it's the whole thing with Batman versus Superman.
Oh
no! Hear me out. Because obviously it's been getting a bit of a slaying and it's been getting a bashing, and I'm not going to say I disagree with all the hate. I do agree with some of it. Something interesting's happened in the last 2 weeks. Now, Gary, from your point of view, you're a writer and you're a creative. Say you'd wrote 2 scripts for movies and they'd been picked up, and then because of the success of that or the mild success of those, you were then asked to direct a movie like, say, I don't know, The Flash. Would you then... have you seen this in the news?
I've seen it.
The director of The Flash has dropped out of the Flash movie for creative differences. Who the hell is this guy?
Much to my shame, or I suppose depending on what side you fall on, I've not seen BVS yet. I know. I've just not got round to it, and then all of a sudden Civil War came out, and because I was chatting about that, I kind of chose that over it. Because I don't actually hold any sort of Marvel over DC bias. It just depends which one's out, But I didn't really even know the Flash director quite over creative differences. I think from my point of view, I would be too... Maybe this is good advertisement for me should, a big corporate company take me on. I will be the Studio Benson. If the publisher wants to crack the whip and change all my artistic brilliance for run-of-the-mill crap, I'm not saying it would be. You know, The Flash might be an amazing film. I don't know what the differences are, of course, but I think, I don't know. The way I always look at it is, if I really want to succeed in this sort of industry on the comic point of view, like, I would, go for it. Yeah. I couldn't see myself quitting and endangering that over differences. Does that make me sound like a big sellout?
No, it doesn't at all. We were actually having that conversation on the way up to see Civil War the other night, and we both said the exact same thing. It's like, who the hell do you think you are? Do you think the thought I just had just now was, do you think maybe he was a fan of the TV show, and he was this every time Ezra Miller came anywhere near him, he was like, fuck you, you're not Grant Gustin.
I think everybody said that.
It could be that,
It's a weird one. Funnily enough, like, my favourite guy in all the world is Joss Whedon, from just a writer and director point of view.
Yeah.
But he does stuff like all the time. He left Marvel after Avengers 2 because of that. But then again, Age of Ultron did have a lot of very weak moments, I thought.
But my thing with that
very unlike Joss. But yeah, it's an odd one.
My thing with that is, Joss Whedon he's created such things as Buffy, Angel, The Avengers. He's the kind of director who can turn around and say, look, if you're going to mess too much with it, I'm not doing it. He can. This guy's never directed anything.
That's it. I mean, that's a good point, Kev. Joss Whedon is a massively experienced director, but you could tell the moments in Ultron where the studio got involved and said, put that in, that needs to be in there. Like the bit in the fucking pool thing where Thor in the pool, that had no place in that movie. There was no need for it whatsoever.
That was so random. That scene.
It was exactly. It's like what that's not Joss Whedon. That bit wasn't Joss Whedon. No. So you can tell that there was studio interference, there was studio pressure, and it nearly broke the man. But this guy, who the hell are you? I mean,
I did want to go in and read the full article so I could get his name for the sake of the podcast, but I thought I ain't got time for this guy. Like, if
just called that guy,
that guy,
fucking guy. Yeah.
And you know what it is though? You do something like that, you then become half a Josh Trank because you didn't even direct the fucking movie and you walked away. So he's just an idiot, and I wanted to ask you from a creative point of view, is that something you would do? Would you, like, say if Shah threw down a couple of notes to you and you were like, no, like, I know it's your comic and you created it, but you would possibly bend on a few things, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's always compromise. Luckily, the editor, Jack, it gives really, really great, amazing notes that only improve it. He's never really said anything's been really shockingly bad or anything, and we've never really disagreed. Yeah. But yeah, there's always compromise. I always think you should be open to criticism. Otherwise, as human beings, we're collaborative, and if it's just my single-minded vision, there's going to be things I've not picked up on or things I've not thought on that other person can bring to the table.
Yeah.
It would only need to be really bad. Do you know, actually, we were talking about, if you were selling rights, like what your threshold would be. So I said, right, Shah, say somebody picked up your comic, right? But, it's Rob Schneider in the lead. Do you do it? And he's like, yeah, probably. And I said, right, well, what if it's Adam Sandler playing every character in a fat suit? And that was his limit. He's like, no, then I would just, I would forego all the chance of prosperity and, future career, just Adam Sandler, all fat suits, that is the breaking point.
I think that's probably everybody's breaking point.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Adam Sandler in any role in my movie.
Adam Sandler in a fat suit or just Kevin James?
Yeah, Kevin James in a slim suit. But yeah, I just wanted to ask you that because I think that guy's been an absolute douche. And and by the way, when Warner Brothers and DC do get to make this movie with whatever director comes in, they are still using his script.
Yeah.
So where's the creative difference? He was making the movie he helped write.
It's got to be the Grant Gustin thing. It has to be.
It's got to be. It has to be. I think Ezra's probably doing that, though. He's probably looking at the mirror saying, fuck you, you're not Grant Gustin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's doing like the Family Guy thing where he's in the mirror going, you're a whore.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I do love Ezra Miller. So we're going to move on to a section you're dying to do because anytime we talk wrestling on this podcast, it's
happening more and more.
You know what it is? The last few podcasts, we've done quite a bit of wrestling, and in the last episode that we put out, you got to talk Doctor Who.
I did.
I feel like you had taken the podcast over. It's kind of becoming like an 80-20 sort of slant now, because we talk more like shit I don't want to talk about.
That was always my plan. I'm like Palpatine. I've been slowly building it up.
Right, so I'll let you take the lead on the next section.
So we're going to talk Payback for a bit. So before we get into the matches that were on there, what did you think of Payback on a whole, Gary?
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. The weird thing is about WWE just now is that I don't watch it weekly, so I only ever really get the pay-per-views and the sort of video packages, so I don't really get most of what people moan about, lengthy promos and pointless segments and all that stuff. So I just get, boom, here's the setup, here's the match. So I didn't actually know they were angling it as the new era. That was like quite a surprise to me when
you know what? Neither did I until I actually put the bloody thing on.
They've been slipping it in more and more.
They have been, but yeah, they started saying it's the first pay-per-view of the new era and all that kind of thing. Like, I didn't know where the hell that came from, to be honest with you.
Do you not just want them to say like the Attitude 2 era?
Attitude 2.0? No, that's wanky. Yeah. No, I know what you mean. I mean, I do watch it weekly. I mean, I thought it was good. I was looking forward to this more than WrestleMania.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the thing is, like, I find going online and looking at wrestling posts can be, annoying, more so because, you criticise the things you love. Buffy's my favourite show, but I don't like, about 60% of it.
Yeah.
Later seasons, which is weird. But it just seems like it's just constant slating of it. But I actually still really quite enjoy WWE. Like, I don't hate it,
Yeah, I know what you mean. I don't. I know what you mean about the pages on Facebook and all that kind of thing. Yeah. You get so many people slagging Vince McMahon off and stuff like that. I mean, personally, I reckon Triple H is the man to take it over.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's still Vince McMahon, so shut the fuck up.
Yeah. I mean, I think there was a certain point last year. I'm not as into the wrestling as you are, Chris, and probably you yourself, Gary, as well. I sort of dip in when the pay-per-views come on as well.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like last year there was a certain period where it was just utter garbage. Every pay-per-view just seemed to be garbage. And then the last, I would say maybe three pay-per-views, it's really started picking up again. So I'm kind of back on board with it, to be honest. And
I think so too. I think, they are putting in storyline mode, but I think maybe Vince does realise things need to change, especially with the sort of Reigns backlash. I don't know, I get the feeling that they're slowly just making him a sort of monster heel. They're like, they should just take the mic off him altogether, mind you.
Yeah.
Reigns, he's not technically brilliant, but he does most of his matches, him and Triple H's at WrestleMania was a bit of a letdown. But near enough all of his matches are actually really good, and he does usually get "this is awesome" chants, but his character just isn't there.
Yeah.
They just need to twist him, make him a bad guy like they did with The Rock.
They do. Well, that's the thing. That's what a lot of people forget about it, is that, The Rock's not always been the superstar bloody movie star kind of thing. That when he first started, there were chants of "Die Rocky Die" for fuck's sake.
Exactly.
People forget about that. So maybe they do need to turn him into heel and give him a chance to build it up, rather than just making him into the next bloody Super Cena.
I know, exactly.
I'm there. I mean, everybody's been saying it for donkeys, haven't they?
Well, yeah. So, Kev, you've not seen the whole of the...
I didn't watch the whole
event,
thing. I sat down to watch it last night, and I got bored to tears while watching Charlotte and Natalya.
Yeah, that was a lot of pish.
Yeah.
That's as far as I got.
Quite disappointing considering how good the women's match was at Mania, and I loved the fact that they made it the women's belt again. I felt that was very... Well, I would say progressive WWE, but they're actually regressing because they had that before. But it worked. Yeah. But yeah, like, Joe really annoys me. Natalya no-sells the figure four.
Aye.
She doesn't act as if it's agony, and it just annoyed me. It breaks the illusion of it. Like, there's times where she just like almost smiling, like, "Oh yeah, I'm not going to tap." That was the bit that annoyed me the most in that match.
Yeah, I kind of tuned out of that. I was probably pissing about on my phone.
Mania was the one with Becky Lynch, wasn't it?
And Sasha Banks.
Oh, I love Becky
Where
Lynch.
the fuck Becky Lynch was on Raw. Sasha Banks wasn't. Where the fuck is Sasha Banks?
Yeah, I love Sasha Banks as well. I don't know. Good point. Why were they not in that pay-per-view at all?
You've got a bit of a chubby for Sasha Banks, haven't you?
A little bit.
Yeah.
Don't question me. So, did you see the accident moment with Enzo Amore?
Oh, man.
Yeah, man, that was terrifying.
That looked bad.
It's a really snapshot at the moment, and you're like, oh God, oh no, this is nasty. I don't like this. He
is quite literally, I mean, the tag team division for me hasn't been up to much for a long time.
Yeah.
It seems to be coming into its own now. I didn't realise how fucking badass the Vaudevillains were. They're
pretty cool.
They're pretty cool. And
they've kind of got a bit of a like Bill the Butcher vibe about them, which I like. Which I like. I did like the moment, a bit of a scary moment because Enzo was lying bust on the ground.
Yeah.
And
I think it was Simon Gotch tried to pick him up, and the referee was like, "Get the fuck away from him."
That's right. Yeah. They went to continue, and it was like, "Whoa, no chance."
Like you say though, like it took you completely out of it because you realised that he was hurt, but it was like Big Cass, like there was no hiding his emotion or anything. He looked sick as fuck. Like he was like, "Oh shit," he's like, "Oh man," and I'm not gonna say I loved that because it was a horrifying moment, but to see the fact that he completely broke character and looked like he looked white as a sheet, it was just like, "Oh shit."
You can tell there's like a sort of genuine friendship there because of that.
Definitely. Did you see the pictures on Twitter they were posting?
With Kevin Owens?
Kevin Owens selfie?
Yeah. Oh, amazing, man. Amazing.
That was cool.
So that was the second fight, wasn't it?
That was.
But what happens to the number one contender now?
It's Vaudevillains are getting a title shot at Extreme Rules.
So they're just giving it to them now?
Well, Enzo's going to be out for at least, like, with a concussion, don't they give them 6 weeks or something like that?
Oh, jeez.
In case the concussion doesn't go away. And
I love Enzo. He's amazing.
I didn't actually realise until recently that the reason they have such a strict concussion thing is that when Chris Benoit,
Will Smith,
shut up, Chris Benoit, killed his family and what have
allegedly.
You. Well, no, allegedly he did it. It wasn't aliens, Kev, or was it? Anyway, shit. We're in Worsley territory here.
You're not getting back on another damn wrestling show.
I'm not. So when Chris Benoit, did the deed, he was actually heavily concussed.
All right.
Which is why they have such a strict concussion policy now. I didn't realise that.
Is that his story and he was sticking to it? Well, he couldn't, could he? So.
No. Do you know, see when I watch old Benoit matches and like I see the chair shots he takes, like I keep on thinking, was that part of it? Was this moment specifically part of it, Because he took some belters.
He did, and well, I mean, his finishing move was a big headbutt off the top rope, wasn't it?
Basically,
right, yeah. Just brain scrambled, man, over time.
He was a badass, wasn't he?
He was a badass, but, took it too far, really.
Well, yeah.
So,
you're definitely not getting back on.
I'm not. No.
Joe's going to be listening to this, he'll be like, fuck him.
Oh, fuck that. Joe said worse than that.
Out the draft.
Yeah. I'm not doing too well. I only got 20 points on the first one.
So Gary, and for the listeners who don't know, Chris decided, was it last week?
It was during the week last week.
You decided to cut your ties with the 365.
Well, no, I didn't, did I? I was invited on and I went on.
And you went on another podcast called Another Damn... I know, Gary. Like, where I wasn't invited. Like,
well, they said no English people. So.
Was it like a younger, hotter podcast?
It is.
I think it is.
It's an up-and-coming podcast. That's why they invited me.
Is it like from Aunt May and Spider-Man to Aunt May and Civil War?
Very much so. Although, Joe, I don't listen to another damn wrestling show as much as you do. I've only listened to a few. He's got a damn fine voice on him.
He does?
That's a voice made for podcasting.
Aye.
I'd hate to imagine his face.
It's a face made for podcasting as well, to be fair.
Dude, you're going back on this podcast.
Yeah, not now, I'm not.
Yeah, so Chris done a fantasy WWE draft, and you didn't do very well, did you?
It's a year-long thing, though, dickhead.
All right.
Don't question me, it's a long game.
Well, you didn't choose Ambrose in the first
because
round.
Somebody else picked him before me.
In the third round.
Shut up.
Somebody picked him in the third, which meant you had 2 picks before somebody chose Ambrose.
So what did you think of the Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn match then?
Maybe match of the card, actually. I loved it, man.
I would agree with you there, definitely. Aye, definitely.
Those guys just tear it up and see like how flawlessly some of the moves they execute are. Actually, I don't believe it. That diving DDT through the ropes. Every time I see that, I'm blown away by it.
That move is insane.
Well, didn't he knacker his shoulder when he did that on John Cena?
I think he did.
Is that why he was out?
Aye. He pulled his shoulder muscle or something like that. Something doctory.
I imagine he would. Something doctory.
Yeah, something doctory.
He got a dead arm.
I've not been watching House MD lately.
His arm got deeded.
Aye, that's what it was. No, I love that match. I mean, those two, you can tell that they've known each other for years and they've worked together for years. I mean, like you say, Gary, some of the shit that they were doing.
They work fantastic together.
I'm glad that Kevin Owens won, though.
I'll be honest with you, I did actually, when that match started, after watching the VT, which they play every fucking week now, which is getting a bit tedious, the whole 14 years history thing.
Yeah.
They played that again for the millionth, trillionth time.
Well, shit, they played it twice on the pre-show and then once on the fucking main show.
And then when Sami Zayn comes out, I mean, that's the best intro ever. That is just such an intro.
See, you mocked me when I put that in my top.
No, I didn't mock you.
Yes, you did.
I just said that it reminded me of Real Big Fish Sellout. That's all I said.
Yeah,
no, you mocked me.
But that was a kick-ass fight. They, like you say, those two sell it like there's no tomorrow, and they work well together. And I loved how he stayed to commentate. And you knew Sami Zayn was coming out again at some point, and it was just amazing again.
The match was awesome, but then Kevin Owens on commentary speaking about the Intercontinental Championship match, that was even better. That was just great.
I love that he just randomly hates Michael Cole.
Yeah. And he called what's his name into the ring, didn't he? Was that
Byron Saxton? Yeah,
I thought he was going to do him in. I thought, go on, do him in, but he didn't.
So we had the Intercontinental Championship match. I mean, it was meh. It was a bit meh. Yeah, I mean, Cesaro's good. I hate the fucking James Bond thing though.
Yeah,
he's coming out with the suit on, and the sort of
the thing.
The bit of the James Bond where he goes. Pfft.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I hate it.
I totally forgot about that. That is odd.
I do like the move when he pulls the suit off though, because that's pretty much what I do when I go to bed. I just whoosh, and the clothes come off. That's just the way I roll.
I think it'd be good just to shop to any place and just be able to do that party.
Just be like, I have arrived.
PTA meetings, whatever.
Yeah.
PTA meetings.
Maybe just the once though.
You're not
just the once because you're banned after
on some sort of register somewhere, presumably.
The only thing about the Cesaro match, I cannot get away with that spinning fucking thing.
No, I would quite like to have it done on me, not by you. Forget it.
Okay,
but
weird. Next fight, please.
Anyway, so yeah, that was a bit meh. Then we had Dean Ambrose versus Chris Jericho, which was okay. It was just sort of by the numbers type thing.
Yeah,
it was serviceable. It wasn't outstanding, but it was good.
It was really just give Dean Ambrose something to do until they can figure out what they're going to do with him. But what are they going to do with him?
It's getting more.
They're not putting him anywhere near Roman Reigns, because if they put him in a match with Roman Reigns, the booing is going to get even worse for Roman Reigns. So Dean Ambrose doesn't getting anywhere near the title.
I really wanted to see the belt in Ambrose, and I know he doesn't fit the look. Probably kayfabe and non-kayfabe, as a company, they probably wouldn't want him with the belt, but it's kind of like when Mick Foley got it. Mick Foley loves him, and I do see sort of similarities with the hardcore style. And
well, they were hammering that home, weren't they?
They need to give him something.
Aye, they were really hammering that home before WrestleMania. They had Mick Foley giving him the bat, and then they had Terry Funk giving him the bloody chainsaw, and all that kind of thing, and they were really sort of hammering it home about him being the new hardcore legend and stuff. And then, well, the match with Brock Lesnar was shit.
It was terrible.
I was quite disappointed in that match. I liked the suplexes as always. You go, hey, suplex, way, but I don't know. I expected it to go mental, because especially since Ambrose is, I know it's PG, mind you, but because he's ex-CZW, I thought that would be the one time, because they do go a bit more lenient on the PG for WrestleMania to try and get all the old smarks back.
That's what they need to do. They need to.
Have you seen any photos of Ambrose when he was just?
I've seen a couple. Wasn't there one where he went through a glass plate and his back was knackered after it?
Fucking hell.
Yeah,
I think I put that on your Facebook. If it's one at one point,
these guys do it, man.
He's some boy.
He is some boy. I know. So after that, we had the women's match. We're not talking about that again. And then what kind of killed the event in its tracks was we had bloody 20 minutes of Vince McMahon making his decision between Shane and Stephanie.
Do you think, right, because I've not watched this, but everybody keeps saying that it was, like you say, it killed the show.
It did.
Do you think this was, like, filler because the Enzo match ended early?
Possibly, yeah, possibly.
Because they had to fill the time somehow. But then again...
Because, I mean, sort of lengthy promos like that, they don't really usually do pay-per-views. Even, like, huge ones like WrestleMania, you wouldn't get such a big segment of just talking heads, eh?
No. But then, you had The Rock came out at WrestleMania and...
Oh, wait, you did have that long segment.
That was ridiculously long. Yeah. That was just...
yeah, The Rock did talk shit for, like, a while, and then Ronda Rousey, that one.
It wasn't The Rock's normal quality. It was just... I mean, it sent Kev to sleep, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, I fell asleep. I'd lasted the whole show and I fell asleep there.
There is a photo of it on Twitter, by the way.
There is, you twat.
Yeah.
There was no need for that.
You had to do it. I had to do it anyway. You have to.
Yeah.
But, so they spoke for 20 plus minutes about which one was going to be taking the control of Raw, and then
they both got
it.
Lot of shit.
So just went.
And the crowd really didn't like the conclusion. Like, they were just kind of left a bit, okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it was
setting up the story, but
yeah, I mean, Raw after it was quite good. They were kind of going about and stuff and things.
At the end of the day, though, if it means I'm going to get to see more Shane and more Stephanie, I'm alright with that.
Yeah, Stephanie was also on Raw.
We could potentially. I don't think they'll go there because of the whole PG era, but they could potentially go Game of Thrones with them too.
Jesus Christ, man!
You not tuning in for that every week?
No.
I think they should. Do you guys remember that where back in the day Vince suggested that as a storyline? That
oh my god!
Yeah.
His mysterious pregnancy might have been Shane's or Vince's. It was
the first time.
Vince's.
First time Stephanie was pregnant, and Vince had the idea that he wanted to bring it in that it was Vince's baby. This is real. This is actually a story that Vince wanted to do.
Is that when they brought in Hogswoggle? Because that's what it would look like.
Jesus. Yeah.
That's insane. Yeah. Why would you ever do that?
Well, it wasn't PG. It was like, let's do whatever the hell we want and make it.
So did he do that before George R. R. Martin?
Yeah.
Oh, right. So let's get off the incest.
So you started it anyway. So then it ended up with the WWE World Heavyweight Championship match: Roman Reigns versus AJ Styles. Again, it was good.
So did I only miss one match?
Yeah.
Oh, damn! I should have stayed up.
It was good. It was all right. It was okay.
Because I know you were going on the Twitter even the whole time that it was on, because I woke up and I had like a million tweets from you and Brigger and Randall Holt and all that. I had like 80 fucking tweets to go through. And basically I didn't need to watch the show because you'd covered it for me.
Well,
but one thing,
up then, shouldn't you?
One thing I didn't see is, I know you were going on about Finn Balor and the Bullet Club. Did they come in?
Those two did. Finn Balor didn't.
Did he not turn up?
Because he's on my bloody draft and he didn't fucking show up.
Well, why would you choose someone from NXT?
Because you've got to get, it's a year-long thing.
The long game.
So you're hoping he's coming up.
He is coming up.
What if he gets injured? Are you stuck with him?
No, if he doesn't show up on a pay-per-view, it's only the pay-per-views that you get points for. So if he doesn't show up on one pay-per-view, you can swap him out for the next one.
What if he shows up but only talks?
Well, then you're stuck with him.
Oh, well, there you go. You're stuck with him.
Shut up.
But the other two came out.
The other two came out and they kind of interfered. Then the bloody Usos came out and they were pissing about and stuff, and people jumping over the ropes and stuff and things, and whatever.
Question is, I saw them in the crowds. I saw everybody had a box of them. Have you ordered your bootios?
I have not.
Can you buy them?
Apparently
you can buy them on the WWE shop, like guy.
Yeah. I think we need some for the studio. A box of bootios. Okay. You know I'm eating them though. Oh, that's such. They need to get rid of that as soon as possible.
So it's not just a box you can buy; you can buy the cereal.
Well, it's actual cereal, I believe.
Well, I think it'll just be a box, if I'm honest.
Do you think?
I can't see them shipping a box of bootios over from America.
Maybe it's just America. You can get it. I don't know.
Possibly, yeah.
I don't know.
But if it is just the box, I'd buy a box.
Okay, fair enough. just buy a box of cornflakes and just put bootios in the front.
Yeah, just put it in.
So that was the event then. I enjoyed it more than WrestleMania. Thought WrestleMania this year was just meh.
It had its moments.
It had its moments, but meh.
Yeah, it was the finish that with WrestleMania I wasn't too hot on. I did think Reigns and Triple H could have been really good. Because Trips had a really good match with Ambrose at Roadblock.
He did, didn't he?
He did, aye.
It was really old school, but in a good way. But yeah, man, I just thought this is the perfect turning point, make Reigns heel.
Aye, they
could have. They didn't do it.
They could have done it.
We thought they were going to. We did think they were going to, didn't we?
Well, we watched... have you ever watched a YouTube channel called What Culture Wrestling?
With Adam Lumpy and that.
Slads from Newcastle, and they do a regular thing.
Do you know, I've not actually seen it yet, but my pal Susie actually, I think she just got a job with them.
Really?
Yeah, Susie Kennedy. I don't know if she's been on it yet.
Oh shit, she's amazing.
Yeah, man, she sits
on the floor all the time. Oh, no way!
Bloody hell! Small world.
Does she do like a CM Punk floor sit thing? Is that what it is? Like the knees crossed?
Did she not do the one when they turned into BX?
Aye.
Because she turned on the other lad, didn't she? The ginger kid.
Yeah.
Aye. Because you would.
Oh,
just by natural selection, just let's get the ginger kid out. Yeah, I'll need to say I've not actually. I've heard of What Culture, but I've not watched any of their videos yet.
They're good, and you keep on seeing signs in the audience as well.
Yeah, they keep it the big pay-per-views. You keep seeing the What Culture signs all over the audience, and that it's great.
Really, I'll need to look out for it.
They do regular videos of how they would have booked and that kind of thing, and they did do how they should book WrestleMania. And
that was a good one.
That was a good one. So yeah, I mean, I can't believe your mates on that.
It's like this. I keep on like the comic scene and the wrestling scene is all very mixed and mashed together. There's a lot of similarities. There's a lot of wrestling fans and comic fans, and we all kind of know each other. It's weird.
Aye.
A lot of the people, there's a few guys that work for ICW that also do stuff for Glasgow Comic Con as well.
Yeah,
right.
So that's kind of how we all intermingle and join forces.
That's awesome.
For the underdog geeky goodness,
Aye,
that is awesome.
Well, we're going to Glasgow in is it August?
Yeah, we're going back to Glasgow.
And Grado's going to that, so we're hoping to meet Grado.
That's right. Aye, good. There will be. So, whereabouts you guys based again?
Right on the border between the homeland and Scotland.
Ah, really? Right. Okay.
Well, literally.
I mean, I don't know if we've got a table there, but if not, it'll be good to meet up anyway.
Well, you better get one, and then we'll see you.
Aye.
Either that or pop along as a punter.
We'll be. I think it's the 18th and 19th,
something like that.
Something like that. So
is that the Collectormania one in Braehead?
Braehead Arena. Aye.
Yeah,
that's right.
It should be fun. It should be fun.
So what we're going to be talking about now is this is a bit of a wide-ranging one. We're going to be talking our top 3 wrestling moments of all time. How did you get on with this, Gary?
I decided to wing it and see what came in my head. So is it moments or matches?
Matches. Oh, sorry, matches.
The matches.
Top matches.
Because I couldn't possibly go for moments. That would just take forever.
Kind of the same thing, really. But yeah, top 3 matches, bygones.
Well, I think because Gary's the guest, we'll let him kick it off and put him on the spot because he hasn't even finalised his list.
Pressure. Okay.
So you do your first one, and then we'll go around the table sort of thing.
Cool. I'm going to say, okay, this is a bit of an obvious one, but I've got to include Taker Mankind Hell in a Cell.
Nice. Yeah.
Aye.
Aye.
Is that the one where he launched him off the top?
Yeah. How could you forget?
I mean, that was just an absolute spectacle. Maybe not like a great technical achievement when it comes to matches, especially because it's so fractured as well, because it, he gets taken away, he comes back. But even, post those 2 big spots, it's still quite an intense match. He gets chokeslammed out of his shoes, which is just hilarious.
Plus, you've got JR there doing commentary as well, saying he's half dead and broken in half, and oh my god. And
a lot of classic lines. I'm going to have a runner-up as well, actually, for that in the same genre. Triple H Mankind, or Triple H Cactus Jack Royal Rumble 2000.
Was that the one where he pedigreed him through the top of the cell?
No, that was the one. That was pay-per-view after that was the street fight where he got the pedigree and the thumbtacks.
Shit, yeah, that's right. Aye.
So that's my backup for that one, and the sort of Mick Foley favourite match subgenre that I've added to this. I'm just making this up. But yeah, you get one.
Mankind's a fucking lunatic, isn't he?
He is.
Aye. No wonder he likes Grado.
I could see Ambrose going that way, mind.
Aye.
But you wouldn't get away with being pedigreed onto thumbtacks and stuff like that.
Not anymore. I mean, it was weird enough when he started licking the barbed wire, to be honest.
Yeah, that was a little bit weird. It
did kind of take me out of the moment for a second. I was like, ew.
Germs.
Well, I'm going to come to me because I don't want anybody stealing my number 3. And it's literally the most obvious choice that I'm going to choose it because his music is my favourite theme tune ever. It is my theme tune when I pick up the 365 belt, and it is when Kurt Angle and Shane McMahon faced off at King of the Ring.
Good one. I love that match.
Absolutely. You've never seen a more perfect coast to coast going through the fucking glass on the 5th attempt, the 4th or 5th attempt.
Aye.
Unbelievable match. I love that match, and I could watch that over and over again.
Wasn't that because some dumbass had put their own type of glass in it or something like that?
Yeah, that's right. They didn't install the sort of
like the sugar glass type thing.
Sorry, that's what it is. It's like film set glass in it.
Aye.
But it makes for an amazing, amazing scene of just me and my brother sat there at like 2 a.m. thinking, oh my fucking God, just go through the glass! When he picked them up for like the 3rd time, it was like, please go through, please go through.
Yeah, and I can't believe that was Kurt Angle's 3rd match that night as well. He competed in King of the Ring twice.
Oh, yeah.
Previously, and I don't know how he's got the energy. He's a machine.
And that's by far the best.
He is a machine.
I just love that fight because I'm a huge fan of Shane McMahon, and anytime I get to see a coast to coast, I'm just happy. Apart from when he fucked it up against Taker.
Yeah, that was a shame.
Taker kind of moved at the last minute, and he wasn't supposed to, and it didn't half go wrong.
Yeah, I did feel it was Taker's end that didn't quite get it, and it made Shane look as if he couldn't get there. But I'm pretty sure he could.
I think he just got up. He saw Shane getting up on the top of the rope and went, screw that. I'm not having that.
Well, the same way he saw Shane on the top of the cage and thought, fuck this.
I think, to be fair, if he'd let him land on him, he probably would have killed him. All right.
He's the dead man.
That'll be memorable.
Yeah. You can resurrect.
Aye.
Of course. Paul Bearer, bring him back. Paul Bearer. Right, number 3.
Dumbass. My number 3 is Tables, Ladders and Chairs 2 from WrestleMania 17.
You bastard. Yes. Damn.
I know, that was one of the ones I was going to say as well. Very good choice.
The reason I chose that one...
I wasn't going to say WrestleMania, though. I was going to say SummerSlam the year before.
Ah, yeah, interesting.
The reason I chose that one is you've got the bit where you've got Jeff Hardy hanging from the belt and Edge spears him off the ladder, cool. And that is so cool. I actually rewatched that match a couple of weeks ago. And, it's damn good. It's damn good.
It's an amazing matchup.
I mean, the things that those guys did to each other in those matches is mental.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
those were the days on the tag team.
You
said earlier on, Kev, that the tag team titles have been a bit lately. They're I think it's getting better, but those matches were incredible.
Yeah, each one was brilliant. Even from the very first triple threat ladder match to Evolve to TLC, then TLC 2. They just work so beautifully together in absolute chaos and carnage. Brilliant matches.
There's a documentary on the WWE Network. I think it's called TLC, Tables, Ladders and Chairs, and it talks about those 2 fights. And you see all 3 tag teams kind of talk. I don't think Matt Hardy's in it though, but you see them all kind of talking about the events themselves.
Oh, really?
And it is phenomenal just to see the way they talk about it. Like
we'll do this at this point and this at this point. Aye.
And they're all sat there going, like, we all knew exactly what we were doing. We knew when we were doing it. We got everybody's moments in there. And they were all saying, like, the professionalism of the 3 tag teams, it just made the whole event. And watching that documentary, I suggest you watch it. It's a brilliant documentary.
I didn't even know that was on there. I'll give that a watch. I mean, that's the thing. We know that we know that they do this, that we plan it out. We know that we're not stupid, but it's still good to watch.
Is that you just telling the listeners that we're not stupid?
Aye.
Yeah, I mean, to choreograph that, and it's one of those things where you know how they do it, but you don't know how they do it, purely because you've not been trained, to wrestle, to plan it out, but to see how smoothly everything goes, and you don't realise how smoothly things go until something does go wrong.
And
it's just this beautiful theatrical thing that they just make happen. That's also part improv, part planned spots and all that, and especially in those matches.
So what's your number 2?
Your number 2, Gary.
Shit. Right. I'm going to go with, and I don't remember which one. It's either 25 or 26 because they're both kind of similar matches. Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, WrestleMania
You've probably stole one of Chris's, yes.
Did I heavy bump that, eh?
That's okay. That's all right.
I think Chris pretty much tried to go for HBK in every match.
Oh, really? Should I have steered clear from the...
No, that's what we like. We like a bit of controversy.
It's okay, I've still got my number one because I was going to hobby it, so...
You know what? I don't know, it's weird. Only because I stopped watching wrestling for a while and I only went back to those matches recently. And yeah, man, they're brilliant. I couldn't even really describe. There's no huge spots in them. I couldn't say, there was this great moment where you get power bombed through a table that's on fire from space. But the way I don't know if it was a psychological aspect to it or just they technically just worked it amazingly. But generally after that match, you feel like clapping. You feel like, wow, I think
it's just it's two legends who know how to tell a story in a wrestling match, and you don't need big moments where somebody gets put through a table. They had, both of those, especially the second one where it was Shawn Michaels' career on the line.
That's right, yeah.
They just had, they had you on the edge of their seat the whole time, and then there was the moment at the end of the second one where Shawn Michaels kind of clawed himself back up the Undertaker and then slapped him in the face. Then the Undertaker kind of did his rolly eye thing and then tombstoned him.
Jumping tombstone was a nice treat, even though it probably set Undertaker's knees back about.
Yeah.
My friend described Undertaker's knees, or like him trying to walk on his knees, like a horse on stilts on ice. Which I could imagine that must be how difficult it is, considering he probably has no knees whatsoever.
Maybe you should get one of those things from The Dark Knight Rises.
I'd imagine by now. You kind of took my number two, although I'm just going to say that I did want to go for SummerSlam. I wasn't a big fan of the WrestleMania one. Was that the one where they brought in the extra guys when Spike Dudley came into it?
Yeah, Spike was in that one.
I wasn't big on those guys coming in.
I think
it was
Rhino,
Spike, Rhino, and I want to say Lita.
Lita was there because I think she did a Hurricane Rana on Rhino.
Which is all good, but I just preferred the first fight. I thought the first fight was unbelievable, and it was the first time I'd seen it. So for me, my number two was the SummerSlam TLC.
Also, for SummerSlam, I felt the audience were better for that one. They reacted more to the spots.
Yeah.
Because in Mania, I don't know if it's because sometimes when Mania is so big, I think they said they had this problem in open roof arenas where like the sound of the audience can get drowned out or it doesn't echo as much.
Yeah.
So you don't hear it as much, but... Yeah, the SummerSlam one was great as well.
So, your number two?
That's okay. My number two is Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania 13.
Everyone you guys say, I'm just going to go, ooh, yeah, that's a good.
You might not like my number one, but we'll get there.
You're going to do a Brian Patty's match, aren't you?
Brian Patty, oh man! I completely forgot they used to do them. They were amazing fights, though.
Anyway, so you had, Stone Cold versus Bret Hart. It was the launch of Stone Cold. Right. It ended up with Stone Cold being in a sharpshooter covered in blood and then passing out. It was just the launch of Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Aye, it was cool. I remember that fight. As soon as you say covered in blood, Steve Austin, awesome, because he was the balls.
That was like other than sort of the breaking glass kind of imagery, the image of Stone Cold screaming with blood pissing down his face. That was like a classic image. So
brilliant, man. And it shows that blood when used can really add to the moment.
Exactly. And they just bail out of any of that. There was a thing on the TakeOver Dallas. Do you watch NXT at all?
I do, but I've not watched many recently. They
had the night, I think, or maybe 2 nights before WrestleMania, they had TakeOver Dallas, which is like their main event. It was the main event of the show for the NXT title. It was Samoa Joe versus the champion Finn Balor, and Samoa Joe cut his face. It was an accident. It was like a punch had gone wrong, and they kept on interrupting the match because the cut was just under his eye.
Yeah.
So they kept on stopping the match to mop up the blood off his face. Wow. And it was just, they had the whole crowd going, fuck PG. and then later on, which is a little bit sinister, it was, let him bleed.
It's a bit much.
That is a little bit much. But yeah, but you're right, Gary, like moments like that with Stone Cold, the blood does add to the match. It's not ideal for the guy that's bleeding, but it's their job.
It is their job, and they're getting paid for it.
Exactly, yeah. And it's Stone Cold. So what's your number one WWE match of all time then, Gary? This is going to be a good one.
Ooh, I'm going to go for Austin Rock 2001.
Bastard! Oh, Nat!
It just shows we all have impeccable taste and we all agree, you know. I think that's a good thing.
Definitely. I loved that fight.
That was good.
That was the moment.
So which one do you prefer? Because they had two.
Oh.
So the second one was when Stone Cold turned to the dark side.
Yeah.
And battered the hell out of Rock with a steel chair and then shook Vince McMahon's hand.
Oh, that was awesome.
But then there was one, was it the year before that?
I think it was 1999, so it was 2 years before. Yeah, that one was good as well, although actually if I had to rank their matches, I think it would be 2001 with the heel turn and
was
then
that was X7, wasn't it? I think that's like the best, that's considered the best WrestleMania ever.
Oh, yeah,
that was the one with the TLC as well.
Yeah, exactly. TLC, McMahon versus McMahon. That was a brilliant pay-per-view.
Aye.
And punctuated just by how good Austin Rock is. I mean, the thing is with Stone Cold, I think that's people forget about Stone Cold is that, you know, due to injury or whatnot, he's not technically great. Like, I think if he came in nowadays, a lot of people would be annoyed he's getting over because he can't do the slappy kicks.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, wasn't it? Like, the match that I mentioned before with Bret Hart, that was before Owen Hart had kind of, accidentally broken his bloody neck.
That's right.
So there was a big difference between the Stone Cold that was in the match with Bret Hart compared to the Stone Cold that was in the match with The Rock, because he wasn't able to do the same kind of stuff.
Exactly.
The thing about the fight with The Rock when he turned at the end was that was like 30 minutes of just two of the best wrestlers at that time just fucking slobber knockering the twat out of each other.
Well, I mean, it was
stealing each other's finishing moves.
Yeah.
Just absolutely going for it, and then you just get the amazing sight. I mean, I loved it when Vince put the chair down and Stone Cold picked up and started licking them, and then the shaking of the hand. I remember me and Jamie, again, it was another moment that me and Jamie sitting watching it at like 2-3 in the morning, and we just didn't know what had happened.
Yeah. There is a good, there's a Stone Cold DVD out where he says that was actually one of the biggest mistakes of his career. What? That he wished he hadn't not kayfabe, it was actually like storyline wise for the Stone Cold character. He said, I don't have anything against him handing me the steel chair and me battering the hell out of The Rock.
Aye.
But I wish that I hadn't shaken his hand.
Yeah.
And that I'd just, given him the middle finger or something instead.
But then that doesn't sell
but
the
then
story.
You wouldn't have had him singing Kumbaya to him later on, so...
Yeah, I mean, I actually liked Austin's heel run in 2001. Like, I don't know, he really plays like just an absolute head case really well.
Yeah.
But I do see the point where, like, it was odd, especially when there was no... That's probably why they're hesitant to ever do it with Cena.
Yeah.
Because there's not another... They didn't have The Rock at that period, I think he left, so... Yeah, the sort of absent period where like there was no big face of the company.
Well,
Angle kind of
like
took that
really,
spot, but it's not. He doesn't have the same, celebrity factor as The Rock does.
Yeah,
nah, he's not as good as he.
So that was your number one.
Yeah, that was a brilliant choice, Gary, and it was also my choice as well.
Oh, bless him.
As soon as we decided that was the topic, that was my number one straight away. It was the first fight I thought of.
Never mind.
I know.
So
I'll let you off because you're the special guest. So I'll let you off.
Did I get special guest privileges?
Well, we'll not go that far. We'll fall out of drink. So your number
number one, and I'm going to hobby this. It was going to be worse before Gary mentioned WrestleMania 25. But, so I'm going to hobby this, and it's going to be WrestleMania 12, Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart in the Iron Man match.
Okay.
And WrestleMania 21, which is Shawn Michaels versus Kurt Angle.
You're all about HBK.
I love about HBK, you know that.
HBK is good, man. Do you know, I don't think I've seen the Bret Hart match, much to my shame, because it's kind of just before my time.
Yeah, it's on the WWE Network. It's a hell of a match, it really is.
I'll need to check it out then. Especially no excuses, because it's so easy accessible.
It is, I mean, that's the good thing about that.
But yeah, I remember the Angle match being really good as well.
Well, that's kind of why I put them both at number one, because they were both like technical matches kind of thing, But I mean, the Bret Hart one was a phenomenal match.
Do you know one thing about Shawn Michaels as well? I was watching a a really old pay-per-view. Not really old, it was from 1999 recently. And I think, like Reigns comes under fire for his lack of promo skills. Once you actually see people that aren't too good in the mic, when you watch people that are good in the mic, you really appreciate it more.
Yeah.
Like Shawn Michaels, he was cutting a promo in ring. I think it was when he was in the commissioner and he was telling Vince off saying that I'm going to book it HBK's way. But I didn't really appreciate how good on the mic Shawn Michaels also was.
Yeah.
Because he just, there was no stuttering, there was no fuck up. It was just consistent, like in character and really good.
That's the thing. Like that's one of the things that they say all the time on Another Damn Wrestling Show is that you can tell. Like, say, Roman Reigns has it memorised, and, like, say, bloody that Ryback has it memorised or is reading it off a card. Whereas, like, HBK, it was like an actor reading a part kind of thing, rather than having it memorised, and I'm going to say it exactly like this, exactly word for word like this, tone for tone like this. I can do what I want with the lines.
Yeah,
exactly. It's still written for them, but,
On that vein, do you think Enzo wings it? Because his shit does not make sense.
It doesn't make sense, no.
9 times out of 10, I have to really think about what he's just said. And I love him. I think he's great. He's very charismatic, but half the time I'm sitting there going, like that line he said about running across a beach into his own arms. I was sat there thinking, what the fuck are you on about?
Yeah. Well, when you think about it, I'm a bona fide G and a certified stud. That doesn't make a great deal of sense, but it's still
It does
cool.
a little bit, because he's like that, but...
I do want my hair like that, though.
What, Big Cass?
No, Enzo. I think I could rock a leopard print.
I think you would suit that. You would rock it.
Yeah, okay. For the purpose of the podcast, you do that.
All right. Fine, then I will. Did you have any honourable mentions, Gary?
Oh, I feel as if I want to get a Daniel Bryan match in there, but I just can't think of one.
Possibly for me, I would mention Daniel Bryan versus Triple H. Was that WrestleMania 30?
Kickoff?
Well, he had 2 matches that night, didn't he? Because he had to get through Triple H to get to the main event.
Yeah, that match was brilliant.
Yeah,
very, very good call. I don't know. There's. I feel as if I've definitely cherry picked from my favourite sort of era. I've went right back to the Attitude with a lot of my choices, but I'm trying. There's been a lot of ones that are, in most recent years that have been amazing, especially Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, and all that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Punk versus Taker actually was really good. I was quite surprised by that.
That was good. That was another one I rewatched, actually. That was really good. Aye. Punk had some good matches with John Cena as well.
Yeah, definitely. Like Money in the Bank, when he first won the belt, I watched that for the first time, and that was really good.
Aye. I mean, I do kind of miss CM Punk, to be honest.
Yeah.
He'll never be back, though. I think he's pissed too many people off.
I think one of my my only honourable mention, and because it made me feel so happy inside, has to be Brock Lesnar, John Cena. When
he destroyed him.
When he just destroyed him.
Yeah, I'll let you away with that, and that's good. That was good.
I'm
just
not...
do it one more time.
I'm not a fan of Cena, but he didn't get... Did he even get a punch in that fight?
Maybe a couple.
I think Lesnar just decimated him, and it was just great to watch. It was just like, people need to do this every week to John Cena.
But it was shocking because that never happened to John Cena before.
Aye.
Yeah, Superman Cena, he'd never really been dominated.
And he was in that match. He was bent over in that match. quite harshly as well.
Jesus Christ.
That wasn't like a gentle love making, that was like hate fucking. And
totally.
I loved that fight, I did.
Wow.
Great.
I'm gonna go NXT on my honourable mention here. And it was an Iron Woman match.
An Iron Woman match?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a 30-minute Iron Woman match with Sasha Banks versus Bayley. And they fucking tore the house down. It was amazing.
Aye.
You could... Do you know what? Totally. Pre that WrestleMania where they made the women's belt, I would say that was the actual first ignition of the fire to properly make the women's division more respectable.
Aye.
Because, they played that whole thing where Steph was clapping their hands and it was a really emotional ending.
Yeah, didn't they kind of brought them off flowers and stuff like that, didn't they? Which is a little bit sexist, but,
What do you want them to bring them? Chocolates?
I don't know, just bring them like a DVD or something.
Oh.
So yeah, that was a good top 3. I'm happy with that.
Yeah, that was good. I think we all got our favourites in there.
I've got my wrestling talk in.
Yeah, you've got your wrestling talk.
Had your fix.
I've had my fix. I'm done now, though. I'm not. I've had Doctor Who and I've had my wrestling, so
Yeah, my episode is common. I'm gonna have to really dig deep and think of something you're not gonna want to talk about.
Well, Fast and the fucking Furious.
Oh, Fast and the Furious.
You just set yourself up for that, man.
I know,
You did, didn't he?
That was a
You
stupid
totally
thing to
did.
do.
Totally
Fast
did.
and the Furious special.
You have to rewatch all 7 of them.
I've only seen one of them.
You'll have to watch them all then.
Brilliant.
For the first time, you're in for it.
That was a really bloody stupid thing to say.
Yep. Because I'm winning that belt again, and that's going to be a forfeit. All 7 of the movies.
No, you can only do one. You can only do one.
Okay, I'm going to win that belt 7 times. All 7 movies.
We want live reaction videos as well. Facebook.
You know what, Gary? You're coming up with some blinders here. I think I'm going to write these down on the board. We've got the board on the wall. I'm going to write these down right next to Ross Marquand's picture, because I like to get that in there.
Hi.
I'm Jason.
I'm Jeff.
And I'm Blake from the History of Bad Ideas. And we'll get back to your regularly scheduled program here in just a second, geek listeners. But we do a weekly podcast called The History of Bad Ideas.
Yeah, where we'll discuss things like television or movies or music or games or any other thing that falls into our geek-related podcast knowledge.
You can find us on Geek Life Radio, Fridays, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central, or Radio-Blitz, Saturday, 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central, or you can listen to us whenever the hell you want on iTunes and Stitcher. Check us out. Roger says goodbye.
Goodbye.
This week, when was it? Monday night?
Yes.
We went to see Captain America, The Civil War on Monday night. And Gary, you went to see it this morning?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And spoiler alert, we're going to talk about the movie. I really don't care if you haven't seen it, and if you're an American who hasn't actually seen it, it's not released yet. We're going to talk about the movie. There's going to be some spoilers, so don't get your panties in a twist.
Yeah, you've been warned.
That's your warning, to be fair. So, what do you want to do? You want to give a broad, just a general sort of feeling, and then we'll get into it a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, we won't go through it scene for scene or anything like that, because you have the time. But it was a long movie.
We only did that on Batman vs. Superman because there was a lot of hate to address.
Yeah. I did actually quite enjoy doing that. But yeah, so what was your overall feeling of the movie then, Gary?
Overall, I did actually think it was really good. It was quite impressive how they pulled it together. It was the same sort of impression that the Avengers first gave me, where you've got so many characters, so many plot threads. How are you going to pull this together and make it be sensible? It was really odd because the film is all over the place, but it feels very coherent. There's about 1 million title credits.
Yeah.
Berlin, fucking Geneva, fucking
Oh yeah, they were going over the
Sky,
place more than Jason Bourne. That was
Wonderland, it did have that sort of feel to it, didn't it? Kind of like how Winter Soldier had a 70s spy thriller. This had a sort of Bond-esque thriller to it, But yeah, I really enjoyed it. Spider-Man was great. It was good to see Spidey back. I do love Spider-Man, and I still don't think he's had a definitive, film made about him. All of them have all had their sort of weaknesses and good points, and I feel as if, if they can do that with him, as much as they should not tell his origin story ever again.
No.
Yeah,
even for
I loved how they worked that in.
Just, we get it, Spider, get past it. But yeah, overall, I did like it. I really enjoyed it. What about you guys?
I'll go first.
You're really dreading me talking.
I think I'm going to hate you after this.
I don't think you are.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, overall, I think I said after on the way back home, I wasn't convinced about Vision in there.
Yeah, sorry, Viz.
I'm not calling him that. I wasn't convinced about Vision in there. It didn't really do that much for me in this movie. I was quite looking forward to seeing what they were going to do with him versus Scarlet Witch, but it didn't really come to anything for me.
Yeah, exactly.
But other than that, I mean, I love the locations. I know exactly what you mean about it having the same sort of battle epicness, but also personal feel of the graphic novel. One of the examples that I loved about that just sort of displayed that so well was the bit in the battle in the airport, where it started when they first flew together and they started battling each other. It was all over the place. It was like a proper battle, and then it kind of broke off into individual battles. And I loved how they did that, especially seeing Spider-Man swinging about and kicking the shit out of Falcon and Bucky. I love that.
Properly doing his trash talking.
Yes!
You know, which he doesn't really get much chance to trash talk in the past, so it was really good. You know, it's an interesting point about Vision, where, like, his origin did not make sense in Age of Ultron, so I always had a sort of dislike for the character anyway, because what was it? He was made of, like,
it was
the stone, and he was part machine, and he was something. And
was it vibranium? I wanted to say unobtainium there, but that's not right.
No, that's Avatar.
Oh, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was vibranium, wasn't it? Because they got it from Wakanda.
Something like that.
Yeah, so they kind of built it, because Ultron wanted a body, like a human-shaped body, to go into, and then they kind of screwed him over and stuff.
Yeah.
Which,
with a rewatch, it'll make more sense, but I remember thinking, so how does that, if he doesn't get the human body, then how all of a sudden does Thor doing this weird thing make it like a random sentient being? Like,
it was a little bit like a "it's alive" kind of a moment in the movie. He didn't do anything for me in that. I mean, I love Paul Bettany, but and the sort of the kind of romancy kind of thing between him and Scarlet Witch. I know that they're supposed to hook it up in the comics.
I never saw that. Everybody keeps saying that about this movie, about Scarlet Witch and Vision. I never got that at one point. Like, I realised that they were pally and they were like talking to each other like more than friends sort of thing. But I thought that was just because he was keeping her there. I thought he was just.
No, I thought it was like a sort of romance.
Well, so everybody keeps saying, but it totally just went over my head if it was there.
I think maybe that's what it was.
Yeah.
But that, I mean, to be honest though, what I was going to say there was it kind of felt a little bit like Black Widow and the Hulk, or Bruce Banner in Ultron, where it's like, oh, what are you putting that in there for?
Yeah.
Vision just didn't do anything for me in the movie. But I mean, other than that, I mean, the two sort of lead characters, Tony Stark and Steve Rogers, were absolutely spot on as always. Particularly Tony Stark. Robert Downey Jr. nailed it for me.
Yeah, like I like you felt the weight of his actions and what he thought about, the consequence of what's happened. You could tell just that he was broken by it, but he was like, trying to keep his resolve for what he thought was right.
Yeah.
He really played that, while also still being quite funny and quippy as well. He got the balance.
I think he did. I mean, I was pleased that they still had a grieving widow kind of thing, kind of character in there that was going to make him want to make the changes. Because that's obviously a big pushing point for Tony in the graphic novel. The woman comes up after the funeral and spits at him and all that kind of thing.
I forgot that happened in the graphic novel. Actually, it's ages since I read it.
So, Kev,
what?
Go on then.
I don't know, man. This is a hard one for me because I really enjoyed the movie. I really enjoyed the movie. I thought the action pieces were excellent. Had we not got that last battle at the end between the three of them, I would have been extremely fucked off with the movie, because everybody's going on about the big battle in the airport. I wasn't feeling it. I didn't need to see 6-on-6, and I knew we were going to get that because I saw it in the trailer anyway.
Yeah.
And they did well enough to give everybody their moment. They really did, but I don't know. It was just a big battle of nonsense. I was just kind of like, take Paul Rudd out of that scene. I'm not really bothered. Take Bucky out of that scene. I'm not really bothered. 'Cause for the whole movie, my big thing was I thought Bucky was by far and away the best character in this movie. Same as the Winter Soldier. Winter Soldier is still my number one Marvel movie, even after seeing Civil War. I love Bucky, and I thought he was the one that brought this movie together. I totally disagree on Tony Stark and Robert Downey Jr. I know what you're saying when you say it about the keeping the balance and all that, but it's still Tony Stark and Iron Man 3, and I can't forgive Iron Man 3. He's still a whiny little bastard. But to go against Stephen Rogers, to go up against Chris Evans, he was on point, to be fair. I just don't like this version of Tony Stark.
I actually thought that Steve Rogers was more whiny in this one.
He was whiny.
I kind of, like everybody was sort of saying, well, you've got to be Team Cap because he's anti-establishment and all that kind of thing. And most of the movie, I was just thinking, oh, shut up.
There was a bit where I was kind of like thinking to myself, I really just need Chris Evans to turn around and be like, hey, join my team. Why is everybody picking on me? It did feel that way at one point. But, yeah, I love the movie. I just wasn't, I'm not a big fan of this Tony Stark. I don't like this version of Tony Stark at all.
Is this so Tony Stark how he's became since Iron Man 1 and 2?
Yeah.
Or is like overall the portrayal not really,
he's just not vibing anymore. Like, I felt at the end of Age of Ultron, I felt that Tony Stark was in quite a good place. Like, he was saying goodbye to Cap, and they were all pally, and he seemed to be like, oh, I'm going to go off and sort of do some freelance for a while. And then we come back into this movie, and he's still got Iron Man 3 issues. Like, it just annoys me.
He's not got Iron Man 3 issues. He's not having panic attacks and all that kind of shit. He's trying to do good. He's giving people grants and all that kind of thing. He goes to the MIT and he's in a good place. He's giving people grants. What the hell's wrong with that?
There's nothing wrong with that.
That's not Iron Man 3 Tony Stark.
I just don't like this Tony Stark. I don't like it. And the sooner he gets out of it, which it looks like he was by the end of the film, the sooner he gets out of it, the better for me. And they totally, I felt like I was lied to in the trailer. When, you know that scene when he says, I can't do it, Tony, he's my friend. And he says, so was I. When I watched that trailer, I thought that was like a proper heartfelt, sad moment. And really, it looked more like he was just pissed off. He was like, so was I. And I felt, I was a bit gypped on that. But that's trailers. That's trailers for you. That's what they sold me on, was that moment. Because I think I remember we watched it and I said to you, Oscar. Like, I did, because I thought, oh, that's going to be such an amazing moment. And that fight was fucking phenomenal.
It was, yeah.
Never in my life did I ever think that there was going to be a split second in a Marvel movie where I thought Captain America is going to take his head clean off. And I thought he was going to do it.
that fight was the best part, just because the emotion behind it. Like,
yeah.
You know, I was genuinely surprised they done the Bucky killed the parents twist, because I just thought it was a throwaway origin part. My parents were killed like every other superhero, so it's driven me down this path. But they worked it in quite naturally. I didn't feel as if it was forced.
No, I totally agree there in that sense. Like, when the film kind of started and you got that little... By the way, they did a fucking great job of making Robert Downey Jr. look like he was 18 again.
Well, that was weird, man. Yeah. I forgot about that, actually. That was freaky.
I was literally sitting there thinking, what the fuck are they... I mean, they did it in Ant-Man with Michael Douglas, but Jesus, did they not age him down?
They really did. I mean, you remember the X-Men, I can't remember which one, where they tried to make Patrick Stewart look young.
Yeah,
and it was just
terrible.
Creepy as hell.
Yeah.
But you're right, Kev. They did do a good job of that, to be fair.
And I did love the way that they brought that in at the start of the movie. And like you say, Gary, I didn't think that was going to be a thing. And then they brought it in at the start of the movie, and then they sort of slow played you on the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I was halfway through thinking, right, well, that's going to be the big thing towards the end of the movie. I thought they were going to get there quicker, but, and I did love that. I thought it was great. But for something that I didn't think was going to be a thing to become the most important thing.
Well, yeah, because they were kind of buds again, and then just...
Well, yeah, they teamed up again.
Yeah.
And you slowly saw Robert Downey Jr. in the same way that you saw Rick Grimes in that last episode of Walking Dead, when he was slowly snapping and breaking. In that little 2-minute segment, you slowly saw all of that happening to Robert Downey Jr. Like,
you kind of went, what the hell is this type?
Yeah.
I think that's what he said.
Can you guys maybe actually help me clarify what, I don't know if you would call it a plot hole, but it's one thing that I was asking. I like the fact that it didn't follow the trend of, right, okay, we need to, find the MacGuffin, we need to find this stone that does this because the guy's trying to end the world with it.
Yeah.
I liked that it was a more personal, villainous plot. But if his idea was to bring down the Avengers within by leaking about Tony Stark's parents getting killed by Bucky to really make them erode, sure, he must have known that Bucky killed his parents in the first place. But how did he know about that without or they getting access, because otherwise he put into motion this giant plan, and he could have showed up at that, secret base and found no evidence because he had no idea what he was looking for, unless I missed something.
Yeah, because he was a victim of Sokovia, wasn't he?
Yeah, but didn't he?
I never really picked up on that, but I did kind of wonder why he was doing it. I was just kind of like, why is he fucking doing this?
I liked how they, how they explained what his reasoning was, just because he wanted to bring these people down. Didn't they? Because the whole way through the movie, he was, going to people, mission statement, 1991. Bucky tell him, when Bucky was in the cage thing, the glass cage before he went mental, didn't he say mission statement 1991, and then he started reading out the random words, and then he went apeshit and escaped.
Yeah, but that's very loose plot if that's the case.
So, yeah, it's worth a rewatch because maybe that mission that he refers to in 1991 is the Stark mission.
That's what I picked up. That's what I picked up as, because
mission.
It came up on the screen before they started playing it when he played it for Tony Stark in the final, before the final fight. That was on the screen before it played.
Does he not say, when he's got the guy at the start over the trough and it's filling with
water?
Yeah,
that was brutal.
Does he not say something there about when Hydra fell, everything kind of became public domain?
Yeah, because it was the end of Winter Soldier when.
But then, if that's the case, then how the fuck did Tony Stark not find out?
Yeah, and why didn't he just phone him up and say, "Tony, sup mate, how you doing? By the way, see Bucky? He pure fucking heavy slashed your parents."
That's a movie I'm watching.
You know what I mean?
He pure heavy slashed
the
your
pure
parents.
fucking ball back. You'll never believe what he went and did.
Exactly.
But
instead of this whole, I understand the elaborate nature of the plot to bomb the UN to cause the splinter and all that political movement that was instrumental in it, but did they really need to go to the base? Don't get me wrong, it was a beautiful set piece to fight against the snowy, big, abandoned warehouse kind of thing. But if it was sort of late, they could have just went, Bucky, he's on it, done it, Tony. So leather him and fight.
No, I see
small nitpick, but just I might be missing something.
I think it's just because they like to make everything grand.
Yeah,
they do. Exactly. Yeah, but I mean, you could also say, well, what was the point of speaking about the other Winter Soldiers?
What was the point of that?
Because they went nowhere with that. That's where I thought the final fight was going. Is because I'd forgotten about the moment in the trailer where it was Cap and Bucky beating the hell out of Tony Stark, which was awesome. But I thought the final fight was going to be, they kind of make up, and it's Tony Stark, Steve Rogers, Bucky, and Black Panther versus the 4 super soldiers.
Yeah, Black Panther did nothing. He didn't do anything.
Why did he follow him there? He did fuck all. So I mean, I thought that would have been a kick-ass ending, but we did get a kick-ass ending anyway.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, that fight, like I say, I'm not as sold as everybody is on that big terminal fight. If I didn't get that last fight with Tony and Cap and Bucky, I would have been pretty pissed off, if I'm honest.
But you were always going to get a final fight between Tony and Cap, because that's the story.
And it was exactly what I was hoping for. Winter Soldier got his little bit in that fight as well, and he was just... I can't actually... People keep asking me who was my actual favourite character in that movie, who's the best part of that movie. For me, 100% it's Winter Soldier.
I would say the same. I mean,
apart from Spidey.
Spidey was in there, but I don't think he was in there long enough to be my favourite part of the movie. I mean, they've nailed Spider-Man in that movie for me.
I think they needed a bit more time on the suit and the CG for him.
But then he's getting his own movie.
Oh, he's getting his own movie, so that's fine. And he wasn't in it long enough for me to sit there and go, oh, that's completely destroyed the movie. But the CG on the suit and the suit itself, it's not finished. I didn't think it looked great.
Fair enough.
Especially compared to the other ones.
Yeah.
It didn't distract me, but
I
get where you're coming from.
It does look a little more cartoony than the Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire ones. I agree with you there. But then, I mean, it depends on what
But then,
on what they do in the movie. I mean,
but then Tom Holland is an absolute dream cast for it. They've nailed him.
Definitely. And here's a question for you guys. You know how the solo Spider-Man movie is called Homecoming?
Yeah.
And one of the words that they kept on reading to Winter Soldier was Homecoming. Do we think there's a link there at all, or am I reading too much into it?
No, I think that was intentional. It's too specific.
Yeah.
There must be something. Especially, all the Marvel films are more interlinked than ever before.
Aye.
It must be a direct lead in. I think you're right.
It was something that kind of punched me in the face, and I was like, why do they keep saying Homecoming? Like, knowing now that's what the Spider-Man movie is, I was like, why do they keep saying that? I don't know.
By the way, can we comment how much the Winter Soldier is AJ Styles?
We can. And you're not wrong.
I just thought, it was just going to get Stark and a wee Styles clash. And, he could actually try and botch it and break his neck, because if he was trying to kill him, of course.
That would have been pretty cool.
That would have been cool,
that
to be fair.
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, so what was your favourite moment of the movie, then?
Well, before I go to my favourite, I also want to touch on the other moment in the trailer that I felt that I was gypped on, and it was the moment that Bucky tried to shoot Tony in when he put the hand over it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
That whole scene, it was a good little scene, but it just felt like such a throwaway thing, and it looked really important in the trailer, and I thought, that's going to be an amazing moment, and it was just like, he shot him, Tony went, oh bollocks, and then it just moved on, and I just... Another small nitpick, but then, it's not a Batman vs Superman trailer where they tell you all 3 acts in the fucking trailer. Yeah, but
this is how you do trailers.
I'm not comparing these two movies, all these trailers.
No, I'm not either. I'm comparing the trailers.
I'm just saying that in that moment, I just felt like it was going to be a big moment, and it just didn't. Although the chase after that was just fucking the nuts. I mean, even when when they're chasing each other down the tunnel, and Bucky grabs the bike.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard me, but
I did hear you.
I broke my cinema rule, which is generally to shut the fuck up. And I sat there and went, "Oh fuck!" I was like, that was amazing. And I wondered if you heard me.
I did hear you. It reminded me. Have you seen Lord of the Rings, Gary?
Yeah, a while ago, but I have seen it.
There was a throwaway scene in Lord of the Rings where like Legolas is jumping up onto a horse, but he kind of does it like arse over tit kind of thing. When Bucky gets on the bike, it kind of reminded me of Legolas jumping onto the horse backwards.
It's the way he just grabs it, spins it round, sits on it, and I'm sitting there thinking, I fucking love you.
And the thing is, I thought that is something that AJ Styles could do as well. All that fancy spinny legwork,
I definitely think he could. So, like you say, let's jump on the favourite moment of the movie.
On you go then, Gary.
Favourite moment?
Of the movie.
I mean, I'm have to go with the end fight, purely just because how emotionally charged it was, and even from Avengers, it laid the seed of, building up to their feud. So I would say that was it. That whole fight scene was great. I felt that was, well, it is the last part, so it's meant to be the most climactic part, isn't it? But I felt as if they nailed it.
I'm going to have to agree. I'm not going to try and think of another moment. That was the moment of the movie for me. And like I say, I hadn't exactly dropped out of the movie. I hadn't dialed out of it altogether. I was just sort of like getting to the point where I was thinking, this movie... Did anybody else think this movie was long?
Well, it was a long movie, but I don't think it felt long.
See, I thought it did. You said that in the car on the way back. There was certain points of the movie I was sitting there thinking, I just need this big battle that I know we're getting. Like, I need this, 3-man fucking triple threat. I need it to happen now.
Yeah, I think when they darted about to Berlin towards that bit, I kind of thought it was a while before they actually turned it up to 11.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, we've not actually kicked into the Civil War yet. Mm-hmm. We've not hit, the main show. But then it kind of did fall into it, and then you had, the big conflict. So, yeah, I think it started to kind of drag just before the middle, but not enough to really make me hate it.
But that's...
not enough that you're sitting, tapping on your seat or anything like that.
I wasn't tapping on my seat or anything. I was just kind of thinking, I need to get to this last bit. And then I started to get really worried when you were getting the Steve Rogers letter that Tony was reading, and then he went to the raft to get them out. I don't know why they even went to the raft. That kind of...
Oh, the Geonosis bit.
Aye. Geonosis, aye.
I did lean to Kev at that bit when the thing rose up out of the water, and I said to Kev, does this seem a bit Geonosis-y to you?
Wait, what scene's this again?
You know, when they go to the prison, when Tony Stark goes to the prison?
Yeah.
And the big prison rises out of the water. It just reminded me of Geonosis of Attack of the Clones.
Oh, shit, I don't even remember that. I've blocked most of the people's out of my life. Hold on.
Fair enough.
I got the fact that he went there to let the rest of the Avengers know that he was turning a corner and he was starting to believe them and all that. I got that, but that whole little scene, I was just kind of sat there like, just move it along, just move it along.
I was aware that it was a long movie. I was aware that it was a long movie, but it didn't drag. It didn't feel long to me.
It had to be a long movie. It's one of those things that...
You've got an important story to tell, and it's setting it up for the next phase, and there's there's a shitload happened in the movie.
Definitely.
A lot happened.
Totally agree with you.
For my favourite scene, I'm not taking anything away from the final fight, but I'm a Spider-Man whore. So for my favourite scene in the movie, I'm going to go the airport fight, Spider-Man versus Bucky versus Falcon, where it just ends up Falcon and Bucky sort of stuck to the ground.
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, it's Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man. So.
I said that to one of the lads I work with. He was kind of like, so what was the moments that you really kind of, the Spider-Man moments, because he's a Spider-Man fan as well, what's the Spider-Man moments? And I says, it has to be the bit when he's smack-talking Falcon, and Falcon's like, I don't think you understand how a fight works.
Yeah.
And he's just totally smack-talking him, but it's not even smack-talking, it's just like, oh man, this is so cool, this is so awesome. He's like, you're you, and he's him, and it's like, yeah, aye.
And then it ends with the bit where they're both stuck to the ground and Bucky says to Falcon, like, are you going to do something? And he goes, I hate you. It was funny as hell. And I thought that scene with Spider-Man was amazing.
Can I ask a question? What is the problem with Marvel pulling the trigger on a main character death? Like, why did they not go and kill Steve Rogers? Or why did they not pull the trigger on Rhodey dying?
I was expecting Steve Rogers to die.
So was I. And I was hoping Rhodey was going to die once he got blasted.
There was no reason for Rhodey to... Except for the bit at the end where it was called Tony Stank, and, anybody could have done that.
You're not keeping somebody alive just for a Stan Lee cameo.
Well, it's a Stan Lee cameo. But I agree with you. I think Rhodey could certainly have died.
Yeah.
In the graphic novel, you've got the big moment, which kind of knocks everything on... kicks everything up and all that when is it Hank Pym dies? The big... I think it's it's the big giant fella.
Right.
I might be wrong.
It's been a while since I read them.
Put away your tweets. I might be wrong.
Drop your emails.
Yep. But there is the big moment where it's a character in the graphic novel dies, and then half of the characters think, oh, what the hell are we doing here? And they start switching sides and all that kind of thing. So that's an important moment in the graphic novel. So Rhodey could easily have died.
Yeah, that would have added more, weight and consequence, and it would have fell in line with the whole "we've caused deaths in the past" kind of thing. But it's like it's maybe as if like Don Cheadle said, "No, I don't want to die," and they maybe kind of chickened out.
It's just, I don't know, like. We keep watching these Avengers movies, and I'm loving what they're doing. I am still loving what Marvel are doing. They've never put a foot wrong yet. But I keep wondering when we're going to get this world-ending moment for someone. Like, a character just snaps because somebody dies. Quicksilver wasn't that moment, because we couldn't have given a fuck about Quicksilver.
We didn't spend enough time with Quicksilver to... Exactly.
Nick Fury wasn't that moment because he came back. Phil Coulson's no longer that moment because they gave him a fucking TV show. Exactly. And then in this movie, I kept reading all these things before I went in. I didn't want to read any spoilers. I stayed away from all spoilers, but I kept seeing this headline: who is the big death in Avengers? Peggy Carter is not a big death that I care about.
Was that the big death that people...
Yes. People were saying the surprise death in the Avengers, Peggy fucking Carter.
She's 100 years old by then.
I honestly thought she died in Winter Soldier. So when that scene came up, I'm sitting there going, so she's not actually dead yet, but she is now, and I'm supposed to give a fuck.
Is that seriously the big death?
Well, nobody else fucking dies, so...
Okay, fair enough. Crossbones died.
Did he, though?
Well, yeah, he exploded.
Kind of did a little bit. That opening scene as well, that opening battle was pretty damn cool when they were going after Crossbones.
It was cool. I was a little bit gutted to see him die so quickly, though.
Yeah. Because is it not Crossbones that kills Captain America? Is that not, like,
yes,
a thing?
I think so.
Yeah. I really wish Marvel would have faith in their abilities, which they sometimes do because they keep making these movies that, aren't supposed to win the day. Guardians of the Galaxy wasn't supposed to be the massive hit it was. And they can do this, so have some faith in your ability to kill a main character and just fucking kill someone.
Yeah, exactly, man. Pull the trigger.
Pull it. I mean,
I would have been happy with that.
I'm not going to compare the movies, but look what DC just did. They just killed the main character they have, and I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not comparing it. I'm not comparing it because that's not what we're here to do. I wanted to see, to be perfectly honest, while I was all Team Cap all the way through that movie, I was before I even went into the movie. I really wanted to see him die at the end of the film.
I wanted to see him die.
Yeah,
because he was clearly wrong.
He was.
Yeah. So here's a question to wrap this up then. Where does Civil War rank in your Marvel movies?
Ooh. I'll let Gary go first because you're not going to like my answer.
Oh man, this thing about being the guest. You get to go first, but then you're again feeling the pressure here. Right,
I get to lead the way, but I have to think about how to best word my answer.
Let's go. I would say pretty high. I don't know if it quite goes by Winter Soldier or Avengers. Maybe third. Maybe Winter Soldier, Avengers, Civil War. I don't even Iron Man, and then I don't even know what would be after that because all apart from those ones, all the other ones are sort of okayish to mediocre.
Yeah,
like Thor and all that. They're passable. Guardians of the Galaxy would be 5 probably actually.
Oh, fair enough. I would probably agree. I mean, the sort of top ones are your. I think for me, Avengers Assemble is still the top one. It didn't quite edge Avengers Assemble for me. I'd put it up there with Winter Soldier though. Well,
and I have been thinking about this all
You're putting
day.
in next Iron Man 3, aren't you?
Nothing goes next to Iron Man 3. That's like in a league of its own, that one. I think my list right now is Winter Soldier, then it's Guardians. I'd probably put Avengers after that. Thor, probably Iron Man, and then Civil War.
Shit.
So that's about 6th. I've always maintained that I absolutely love Thor. When we did our MCU roundup way back in the day, Thor was like in my top 3. I love that movie. So I'm not dropping it on account of Civil War.
All right.
But my main thing is, if they had just fucking killed someone, I probably would have walked out and went, that was fucking amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
Because they just need to pull that trigger.
But then, I did go out thinking that was fucking amazing.
I know you did, but that's because you got 10 minutes of Spider-Man,
well,
so you were happy.
It was, it's kind of like Force Awakens was brilliant, but that moment made it. They had you guys have obviously seen it. There's no spoilers. Okay, fuck. But like Han Solo dying made an impact. That really ramped it up.
It kind of changes the game altogether when Han Solo dies.
It needed it,
and it did. It very much needed it. It was a shock. It was quite fresh, and for the rest of the movie, I know the movie only goes on for like another 25-30 minutes,
something like that. Yeah.
But for the rest of the movie, you're still sitting there fucking reeling from watching Han Solo die.
Exactly.
What if they'd done it this way, where it's still the final 3 in Civil War. Iron Man kills Captain America, and then Bucky goes apeshit and just they have a big. I don't know who wins, but they have a even more epic fight. Bucky versus
would have been amazing.
Iron Man.
Because I was hoping that they were going to be laying the path so that when Infinity War comes out or when Infinity Wars hits, that Bucky was Captain America at this point.
Well, that's what I thought they were going with,
and they just seem to have pushed that to the side. That's what I wanted. I just didn't get it, and I think that's maybe a reason why I've been struggling so hard to deal with what I actually think of this movie. I do love this movie. There's some great set pieces. It is a fantastic Avengers, Civil War, Captain America movie. It's a great end to that trilogy, the whole Captain America trilogy. It's a great end to that. It's not quite as good as Winter Soldier. It really isn't. But yeah, it was good. But I needed that little bit extra.
Yeah.
Peggy Carter dying does not fucking bother me.
Well, I mean, have her die, but I mean,
yeah, off screen somewhere.
But they kind of just had her die so they could
reveal her.
The blonde lass, who turns out to be, what is it, her niece,
which is
or her daughter or something,
which is stupid.
Which I really didn't care about. I just kind of thought, well, she's in the CIA and she's in Berlin. I thought, are you Carrie Matheson? But she wasn't. That was funny in my head.
Yeah, it was, but it's not that funny out loud.
Aye.
She was very Carrie Matheson-esque. And yeah, it's creepy, like, you know, it's like, I'm kind of wanting to shag you because you're related to my bird for the 50s. Alright, you know.
But they kind of just...
Can I call you Peggy?
Can I call you Peggy?
Could you put a brown wig on?
I think she'd be up for that.
Shit. But yeah, they kind of just did that. They kind of just put that scene in there because they wanted to have her do the speech where, don't sit down for wrong-uns and what have you. Just to push it over the edge that Steve Rogers shouldn't sign the thingy.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
That's all it was.
Which he was never going to do anyway, so...
That was your MacGuffin there, kind of thing.
I suppose. I kept reading this thing about who was the surprise death, and it turned out it was Peggy Carter. And I was just like, fuck you, bunch of bastards. You know, I honestly thought she was dead 2 movies ago.
I actually thought she died in Winter Soldier as well.
So
there you go.
So the things we never touched on, we touched on Spider-Man. We were all quite happy with Spider-Man, to be fair. I think they've done I had my little gripes with him, but on the whole, they've brought him in quite well. And they could potentially now just drop the origin story, definitely.
We don't need to see it.
Unless Bucky killed Uncle Ben. I'm fine.
Oh, no, don't start that shit.
Yeah, Bucky just goes on like a killing spree of every major character's like parents and all that kind of shit. It's like, oh yeah, it was me, sorry guys.
Maybe when they finally do the DC Marvel crossover, it turns out that the Bucky killed Bruce Wayne's parents.
There we go.
Oh.
I'd watch the shit out of that.
You know what? I would watch the shit out of that. What did everybody think of the other new character, Black Panther?
I loved him.
Yeah, he was great, man.
They've nailed him, haven't they? And I loved that little that end credit scene with in Wakanda when you saw the big black.
Eye.
I was just sat there like, that's going to be a fucking kick-ass movie.
I can't wait to see that movie.
Yeah, it's going to be a good
movie.
And
did we decide that was the same year? They're coming out the same year?
Spider-Man and
Black
Panther, yeah.
Yeah, that's next year, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. Aye.
Good year.
That's going to be a good year, Gary, yeah, definitely.
It is, but we get Doctor Strange first, which I'm super looking forward to once they stop whitewashing the whole movie.
Don't start that shit.
Just big bottle of bleach all over it.
There's fuck me. I can't even believe that's a discussion, but it is. Did you see George Takei's... He's had a big go at Marvel about it.
Does he?
I'll be totally honest, as with anything George Takei does, it's very well worded and it has a lot of points to it. But at the same point, I'm sitting there thinking, it's a fucking superhero movie. Just go to the cinema and watch it.
Just relax.
Exactly.
Just relax into it and let it happen.
Yep. Is that what you normally say to them?
That's what I say to everyone, yeah.
So, I suppose, do we need to give it a rating, or...
If you want to give it a rating, give it a rating.
Out of 1 million, what would you give this movie?
I can't count.
No.
Out of 5, what would you give it out of 5? Because I can count to 5.
Well, we'll do 10, because I gave BVS a solid 9. I would give this an 8. Possibly an 8.5. And I know people are going to be listening, and they're going to go, but it's like the likes of Big Dev, Kev Wright... Rodney and all that, they're all going to turn around and they're going to be like, it's because he's a DC fan. It really isn't. It's just I needed that one thing to really put me over the edge, and it would have made it a solid 9.5. But it didn't. I just didn't get it, and I wanted it, and I didn't get it.
Fair enough. On you go, Gary.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the 9 camp. I'm quite comfortable with 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with that. I'll give it 9 out of 10.
And that's completely your objective opinion.
There you go.
But yeah, I did love it, and I will watch it again when it hits the Blu-rays, and as soon as there's a good copy, I'll be watching it again. but we don't endorse that.
What you mean,
on our
a good
podcast.
Blu-ray copy when it comes out on Blu-ray?
A good Blu-ray copy
when it comes out legally on Blu-ray.
Yeah,
Blu-ray.
Blu-ray.
Shut up.
Do you watch Blu-rays?
In China, what?
Fucking right. So yeah, that's Civil War.
That's Civil War, yeah.
And if you liked it, great. If you didn't like it, that's completely up to you. I think it's pretty unanimous. We've all liked it.
I think anybody who comes out of that saying, "Oh, that was rubbish," is
that's
a bit of an asshole. Really.
That's the thing. I never said it was rubbish. I
didn't say you did.
I had certain little bits, and I was really quiet in the car on the way home. And I was.
You were.
I was very conscious of that fact because I just didn't know what to say. Like, you and Paul were in the front, like, jizzing all over the movie. And I was just kind of, like, working through my thoughts. And because I don't want to be that guy who turns around and says, well, I didn't like it. I just didn't want to be that guy.
But sometimes you need to digest a film, I think. Like, right after it,
yeah,
you know, I've been like that myself. You're like, did I enjoy that?
That's what happened with Force Awakens, though, isn't it?
Well, remember Force Awakens when it finished, and we were all sat there like, huh.
It was more like, oh,
and then
that's where you're going to end it, really?
And then in the car we were talking about it, and then the next couple of days I started to realise, like, you know what, I fucking love that movie.
Yeah. No, same here. We were going to do an instant reaction in the car on the way home.
Glad we never.
But we were all pretty much. It was all right.
It wasn't a great way to end it. It wasn't what I wanted. I could have done without seeing Luke. Is all I'm going to say.
I agree. I didn't need to see Luke there. End it with Rey getting the Millennium Falcon and flying off.
I like the idea that the guy had on YouTube when Rey kind of, you know how she lifts the lightsaber towards him. I like the idea of you didn't get to see Luke, but you saw the lightsaber flying out of her hand. I was like, I would have loved to see that.
That would actually be quite enough, though.
And you wouldn't know who it was. Obviously, you would know who it was, but you'd just be sat there like, oh,
was that Darth Maul?
Give me the next movie. Oh, Darth Maul.
Oh,
that would have been cool. Yep. So
there we go.
That's Civil War. And
I think I'm going to have to boost now.
That's fine, mate. That's absolutely
honestly,
fine.
mate, we'll just wrap things up on our end. But it's been an absolute blast having you on again, Gary. It was a blast last time. It's been a blast this time as well.
Amazing. Cheers. Thank you very much, guys, for having me on again. It's been fun chatting wrestling and comics and movies. I don't think I'll ever get bored of doing that. So.
Well, I mean, if you want to come on again, it's absolutely our pleasure.
I'm sure we'll have you on again at some point.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, we'll keep in touch anyway, and I'll see you guys as well when you come up for Buddy Head. We'll actually meet in person.
Yep, spot on.
Go for jars and stuff.
Yes, delicious jars.
And if we can convince Grado to come with us, that'll be all the best.
Oh, we'll bring Grado.
Yeah.
Big jar session with interviews and beer. Let's do it.
Awesome.
Thank you very much, guys, and I'll see you soon.
Spot on.
Hopefully when I put it out, all the technical difficulties that we didn't have because my editing's so great will be good.
I look forward to seeing how you patch that together, so I will keep an eager eye out for the download.
I do foresee many drinks while I'm editing this episode.
Have fun with it, man.
And you'll just hear me coming on and going, and I couldn't be bothered editing this out, so we just started talking about this.
Yeah, just fade right into it, man.
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. Honestly, mate, great having you on again anytime, and we will definitely keep in touch.
Cheers, guys. Sounds good. See you later on.
No worries, buddy.
Cheers.
Cheers. Bye.
Hey, are you a jock that likes comics?
Are you a nerd that likes comics?
Do you feel left out sometimes?
Well, then we've got the show for you.
I'm Imran.
And I'm Anthony.
He's the jock.
And he's the nerd.
And we host the Jock and Nerd podcast at jockandnerd.com. If you're looking for fun, entertaining, laugh-out-loud geek chat over all the latest Marvel, DC shows and news, visit jockandnerd.com.
Full spoiler podcast, lots of swearing.
You're such a jock.
You're such a nerd.
Oh, come on.
Shut up, nerd.
Okay.
So that's been episode 39 of the 365 Flicks podcast. Thank you very much for bearing with us through our just inane drivel. Thank you very much for Gary for coming on again. It's been an absolute pleasure to speak to you. And yeah, tune in for episode 40 in a minute.
In a minute.
Well, not right now, but you know.
It feels like it's going to be in a minute.
Yeah, no. But episode 40, milestone.
Episode 4 is big.
Look at
I mean, technically, we already did episode 40, 3 or 4 episodes ago.
Yeah, shut up.
Because obviously we do 0.5 episodes, which is
we've done 1.5 episode.
No, we've done 3.
Have we?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. If you're doing a podcast and you ever think a 0.5 episode is a good idea, just look at us and just look at Graphic Novice and you'll realise that a 0.5 is not a good idea.
Are they retiring?
No, are they not rebranding or something?
Is it
I'm sure. Did Hobie not say that they were just going to rebrand or something?
What, like Novice Graphic?
No, they were going to do a DC and Marvel and go back to number 1 once they hit 100 or something.
Oh, well, that's stupid, isn't it?
But I mean, if I was VF, I'd drop Nickel. just drop him.
We're speaking to him on Sunday, right?
Oh, shitballs! Yeah. Oh, by the way, yeah, we're going to be doing a Hobie episode, and by the sounds of it, you will not be hearing it till July,
possibly December.
Yeah, because he's having a pod baby.
Well, so are you?
Yeah.
Are you? Wait a minute. Wait a minute. So is little Anakin and little Brigger coming along at the same time?
I think so.
Huh?
He said July, didn't he? Yeah, Lindsay's July sometime. I couldn't tell you dates because it's not my thing. But yeah, pod babies.
Just crossing the pond. Podcast brothers.
Eskimo brothers.
Wow. Just your baby and Brigger's baby are going to be pod bros.
What we could do is we could do a spin-off episode where we podcast with our children in our arms and they can just cry on the mic. No, I'm not doing that.
That's horrendous.
That's not good audio.
Yeah. So that's been episode 39. Look out for us on an episode of Hobie at some point.
Yeah, at some point in the near
Brigger can be hooped.
Whenever.
And yeah, we'll see you in a couple of weeks for Goddamn Son of a Bitch episode 40.
And you'll obviously be jumping onto other people's podcasts because that's exactly new thing.
Whoring myself about like a motherfucker now.
You are whoring yourself about like a motherfucker.
I've done it one time and I was thinking of you the whole time, Kev.
Ew.
I was touching myself a little bit as well.
Not needed. Okay.
On that bombshell then.
No, we're out.
Hello.
Hello.
That was our fault that time. Christ on a bike is like the fucking Skynet's invading us or some shit. Aye. Yeah, we'll give it another go. Why the hell not?
Round 3.
Aye, can you mind what we're talking about?
Shit.
We'd sort of done the first, last and best, haven't we?
Yeah, he was on about the fables.
Yous are going to have fun in post-production with this one.
Or Kev is.
I wouldn't worry, I'm a master editor. There ain't shit I can't edit.
Was it you edit on anyway? Is it like...
To be honest, I just use Audacity.
Cool. Does it work alright, aye?
It works brilliant, but if I'm really struggling, I pull out the Adobe Audition. But that is like if I'm really struggling.
Ah, that's cool, man.
Because to be honest, Audacity, it's a free platform, but it's easy enough to just wing it.
You do a good job, Kev. I'll give you that.
I fucking know I do.
All right.
I don't need you to tell me I do a good job.
Try and give the prick a bloody compliment.
Right. So
anyway,